Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have bottom it out, Novokrat is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novokrat is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have bottom it out. Bottom it out, Novokrat is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novokrat is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have bottom it out. Bottom it out, Novokrat is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novokrat is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have bottom it out. Bottom it out, Novokrat is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novokrat is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have bottom it out. Bottom it out, Novokrat is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novokrat is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have bottom it out. Bottom it out, Novokrat is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novokrat is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have bottom it out. Bottom it out, Novokrat is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novokrat is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have bottom it out. Bottom it out, Novokrat is bullish. Bottom it out, don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novogratz say we have bottomed out. Novogratz is bullish. Bottomed out. Don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novogratz is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novogratz say we have bottomed out. Bottomed out. Novogratz is bullish. Bottomed out. Don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novogratz is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon. Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novogratz say we have bottomed out. Bottomed out. Novogratz is bullish. Bottomed out. Don't ever rise is bearish.
Bearish target of 1300.
Novogratz is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon.
The countryman is busy gathering his harvest. Today one can still hear the song of the scythe and watch the beautiful rhythm of its swing. Following the binder come the stookers, setting up the sheaves to keep the heads off the ground. Now for next year's harvest. Farming never stops.
We saw Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, suddenly rallying and have rallied ever since. Is it really a store of value?
Cryptocurrencies are not even currencies, a joke. No goods or services priced in Bitcoin or any other shitcoin. It's not a store of value. The price of Bitcoin has fallen, goes up 20% one day, collapses, and it's not a means of the store of value. The price of Bitcoin has fallen. The price of Bitcoin, one shitcoin for another shitcoin, is not a store of value. The price of Bitcoin has fallen, goes up 20% one day, collapses, and is not a means of payment. It's not a store of value. The price of Bitcoin has fallen. The price of Bitcoin, one shitcoin for another shit. CryptoKitties, Ponzi games, casino games, Ponzi games. CryptoKitties, Ponzi games, pump and dumping, Ponzi games. CryptoKitties, casino games, and literally Ponzi games. CryptoKitties, Ponzi games, casino games, Ponzi games. CryptoKitties, Ponzi games, pump and dumping, Ponzi games.
I created one rule: never be a fool. But then Bitcoin 10K break, I had to realize mistake and buy. I only buy the top, FOMO and then withdraw. Everyone else is the best traders in the world. Where will we go? Can you tell me, sir, please? 'Cause I only buy the top, 'cause I only buy the top. Fall and then withdraw, and I never ever stop. The Twitter can laugh it up. Everyone else is the best players in the world. Where will we go? Can you tell me, sadly? I only buy the top. Looking for help on TradingView. Blizzard, tell me what I should do. Should I buy back? I sold my calls. Should I buy back? Is fair market over, or will we die and go lower? When we hit 5K, my wife left me. Blizzard help my family. Should I buy back? Is fair market over, or will we die and go lower? When we hit 5K, my wife left me. Blizzard help my family. Should I buy back? Is fair market over, or will we die and go lower? When we hit 5K, my wife left me. Blizzard help my family.
Their spirits were sunken and low. Their bags weighed more than a ton. There was neither sign nor show when the bull began his run. The shields were shilling wall to wall. The gig was up. They had their fun. And every short got a margin call when the bull began his run. The candle's green came fast and tall. Each wick was bold, quick to stun. His eyes burned red, and his horns did more when the bull began his run. Now fortune smiles upon the need. His bags of gold gleam in the sun. The outer stream of his balance sheet, and every bear is left with none. Since the bull began his run.
just come down from the Isle of Skye. I'm no very big and I'm awful shy, and the lassies shout when I go by, Donald, where's your trousers? Let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low, through the streets in my kit I'll go. All the lassies say hello, Donald, where's your trousers? A lassie took me to a ball, and it was slippery in the hall, and I was feared that I would fall, for I had me on my trousers. Let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low, through the streets in my kilt I'll go. All the lassies say hello, Donald, where's your trousers? Now I went down to London town, and I had some fun in the underground. The ladies turned their heads around, saying, Donald, where are your trousers? Let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low, through the streets in my kilt I'll go. All the lassies say hello, Donald, where's your trousers? To wear the kilt is my delight, it is not wrong, I know it's right. The islanders would get a fright if they saw me in the trousers. The wind blow high, let the wind blow low, through the streets in my kilt I'll go. All the lassies say hello, Donald, where's your trousers? The lassies want me, everyone will let them catch me if they can. You can't take the breeks off a Highland man, and I don't wear the trousers. Let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low, through the streets in my kilt I'll go. All the lassies say hello, Donald, where's your trousers? Donald, where's your trousers? Donald, where's your trousers? Oh, well, that's the way we sing the song in Scotland. But of course the song might have more international appeal, sung something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I've just come down from the Isle of Skye. I'm nowhere big and I'm awful shy. The lassie shout when I go by. I don't know where to do that. Let the wind blow, let the wind blow through the streets of my field I go. All the lassies shout, go, go. I don't know where to do that. Oh man, I gotta rock and roll. I gotta move it and groove it to save my soul. Grab your kill and go, go, go. I don't know where to do that. Let the wind blow, let the wind blow low. Through the streets of my field I go. Oh yeah, go, go, go. I don't know where to do that. She has come down from the Isle of Skye. I'm low and the big and I'm awful shy, and the lassie shout when I go by,
Donald, where's your trousers? Running through the Donald, where's your trousers?
Donald, where's your trousers?
Wow. Well, wasn't that the best thing you've ever heard in your entire life? Certainly was the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name's Rocky Outcrop. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin and altcoins in today's episode. I'm really happy to have you all here. I really do appreciate every single last one of you for turning up for the live show. I hope you've enjoyed the pre-show music, and I hope you choose to hit that like button because it helps everybody else find this live stream. Wait a minute, I can hear something in the background. I'm playing my own stream in the background. I can hear myself. I'm playing my own stream somewhere. Oh, this is annoying. Everybody at home will be able to hear that too. Where's the tab that I'm playing it on? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? There we go. Excellent. Right, fantastic. Now I can get back to reality. What about that though? Wait, isn't that one of the best? Isn't that one of the best songs ever? Ever. Never ever have I ever heard a better song in my whole gosh darn life. Yes, well, ladies and gents, here we are. We're going to be taking a look at all those things and more. Let's start with the graph, as has been requested in the live chat by... Now, let me just give credit where it's due. Credit where it's due. Lord Veroven has requested we take a look at the graph. Let's take a look at the graph right after we run our intro clip. And here we are, back again. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I say, really do appreciate it. But of course, before we look at the graph, we're going to have to take a quick look at where we are right now with regards to Bitcoin. Whoa, zooming in past all of this. What are all these notes that you're talking about here, Rocky? Well, that was from a little session that I did just beforehand in the Neverland chat on the Discord. Be sure to join the Discord if you are looking to get in on the educational materials of this YouTube community. Well, yeah, great, nice one. So where are we with regards to Bitcoin? Have we potentially started to see a breakout of this, of you know, one of these things that we were looking at last recently? This is from the whole how would Peter Brandt be doing his technical analysis discussion that we had last week. There was a couple of different ways of looking at this. Is this constituting a breakout of this thing? Well, a couple of problems I have with this one on the 24-hour time frame. 1, 2 touches, really, you know, not exactly super touchy-feely, and of course no big volume to indicate that we've got anything breaking out as yet. And if you're only going to have 2 touches, then of course we've not done anything quite as yet. It's clear that we're still in this overall structure, looking to see if we can get a proper breakout at some point or another. Could we potentially be dropping down? Well, there are a few bearish things on the lower term time frames, and of course you'll be really looking to find out about those, no doubt, right about now. But as well, just the fact that we're pushing up here as we are towards the 52,000 is changing the picture of that ever so slightly for us. Well, we'll come back and we'll discuss all of this and more in much more detail in the very, very, very near future. Let me just give a quick shout out to everybody that is here with us right now. If you've not said anything in the chat, be sure to say something in the chat. If you're looking for a shout out from me, I want to give a shout out to Mike Knowles, who of course was the first person to put a message in the chat. That was a good laugh we were having earlier on. And K-Doc as well, who actually was in there first after myself, of course. K-Doc, Drew's Tech, well done to you guys. Then Mike Knowles came along thereafter. Lord Verhoeven, you're a legend with your putting your money in with the tip and that comment. Thanks so much for that, really is appreciated. Nice to have you here, Jimmy. Nice to have you here, Mexel dude. Nice to have you here, Drew's Tech. Nice to see you here, Low Price Lessons, WallQ, K-Doc again, K-Doc, Juan Carlos Barameda. When does he start? Yo empiezo a mí ahora mismo. Bienvenido a este what do you call it? We call them shows in English, so I'm going to think that you call them like enseñadas or something like that in Spanish. But that's of course me just struggling to come up with the word there. Nice to have you here, Junta D. Is the J silent? Almost makes me want to go look up a YouTube clip of Django talking about how the J is silent there with your name. Nice to have you here, Alexander Eklund. Good to have a nice Norse name in here with us this evening. Good to have the Vikings among us. Thank you so much for joining us, PD. Good to see you here. Anyone short in Bitcoin right now, says Juan Carlos Barameda. Well, I mean, if they are, then there could be some reasons for that. We'll explore that when we get back around to Bitcoin in the very near future. Always learning, good to have you here. Kai Mac, good to see you. This tune is a classic, of course. Donald, where's your trousers? Absolute classic. Crypto Cash coming along, wanted to see some chat about VeChain. Maybe we'll get around to doing that later on. Of course, if you want me to take a look at a coin, you're probably best betting by sticking in a donation of some sort. Otherwise, you know, I'll struggle to have the time to get round to doing it. And we also have Dan Anthony, the man, the myth, the legend. Dan Anthony, thanks so much for joining us here. Did I say always learning yet? I hope you have. I hope I did say always learning. Good to have you here, Synarch Official. Good to have you here, Navin Nathan. Howdy, friend. Hey, oh yeah, says Dan Anthony. Right, fantastic. Well, we were requested to take a look at the graph. Now, the graph is something that I've not taken a look at myself for a wee whiley. So with any luck, I probably would have chosen Binance, because I like to try and stick, when I'm choosing charts to look at, mostly they're all the same. You'll find a couple of this is just a tip, right? You'll find that if you're looking at things like, for instance, Kraken, not on this list right now, then quite often you get big liquidity problems there. So like if I go over to Kraken, no doubt there's some wicks on this chart which don't appear on other charts. Not no doubt, but quite frequently it's the case. But what we'll do is we'll take a look at it on Binance, because hopefully I'll have already got some drawings on here. Hopefully. No, it doesn't look like I do. Well, what I was meaning there is that I'm going to try from now on, when people request random coins, to look at it on Binance, and if not Binance, then the next biggest exchange from that sort of arena, so that I can come back and see the drawings that I've done on in the future. This is of course GRT USDT on the 4-hour time frame right now. I've got a cup of tea right here, which I will be drinking throughout the show, and I might even take a break at some point to make another one, because I've got a bit of a chest infection at the minute, and I would need to. I don't want to have to do too much of that sort of stuff throughout the show, so I would probably want to have a cup of tea at some point. Well. Theta hit $6 on KuCoin. Are you serious? Sorry, we'll come back to this in a second. Did it? Theta. Let's just check a look at this on Binance just to see how high it got. 498 over there on Binance, but over on KuCoin, then won't up as high as $6. Well, look at that, 560. Over there on that one, Binance 483. There's an arbitrage opportunity for you folks, ladies and gentlemen. Very, not every time that there's something like this, for instance with HitBTC and the Tezos dynamic that we talk about, there isn't necessarily an arbitrage opportunity for you. But I tell you what, if you were to go to KuCoin, I suppose just now withdraw your any Theta that you've got. Go to Binance right now, withdraw any Theta you've got, stick it in KuCoin, and sell it immediately for a massive profit. How about that? You could probably rinse and repeat it a couple of times throughout the period of the show. Now, I don't want to lose anyone. This is not financial advice. Not financial advice, but there you go. Might as well throw that out there with the love and care and attention that I feel for every single last one of you. Might as well mention the opportunity that exists. By the way, for everybody wondering why I was inspired to put on Donald, where's your trousers? It's because I think there's the potential for another sort of arbitrage opportunity, if you like, if we were to take the cat meme song and mix it with Donald, where's your trousers. You might actually have like a proper banging tune. So anybody out there who has music mixing skills, do that. Right, cool. Let's just start off by taking a look. Right, simple things. Suppose let's try and keep this nice and simple and easy for everybody to follow along with. Right, a few things then. It'd probably be wise if I were to. Well, one of the things that would be wise, I suppose, actually, now that I'm here talking about it, would be if I were to make my pictures here on the screen, the the ticker up the top, actually show us what we're looking at. So there we go. Don't need to be quite so big. There we go. Okay, so we're laughing, we're all good. Right, so try and keep this nice and simple. Let's do the charting from scratch on this one. Nice opportunity for us to do so. Let's do it. How would you do this? You've just opened up a chart for the very first time. Maybe you're new to trading, maybe you're an expert trader already, but how would you do it? You can always let me know in the comments down below. First thing I generally like to do when I open up a chart for the very first time is to, and this isn't the first time obviously on this one, but you know the point I'm making, is to just draw in a couple of areas in terms of support and resistance for us, just so we've got a couple of ideas. It's always a nice sort of start for us to do that. That's a little bit low. That thing there in the way is not convenient for me. So a couple of bits of support and resistance. There's three clear areas, obviously. The lower end, the mid range, if you like, and then the top end of things. Stick that there. Now, just like Peter Grant says, here's a little tip again for people. Support, resistance is ENC, resistance. Yeah, vive la resistance. I should have remembered that from the French, of course. Support, resistance, necklines, confirmation lines, etc. Best thought of as zones as opposed to lions. Okay, so we're not talking about exact dollar value, exact absolute precise to the penny number. What we're really talking about is of course the think about these things in terms of being like zones. Fling that away off to the side of the screen though. That was just a tip for everybody. Wrote it down so that it would kind of, some people are visual, they learn by reading. Some people are aural, right? Yeah, audio learners, whatever. I don't really know what the words are. So yeah, the next thing I like to do, generally speaking, if it's going to be, you know, if I'm looking at a clean chart that's not got any indicators or anything on there already, would be to fling on a Fibonacci retracement or two. So I'll probably do that. Now. I'm just trying to establish, this is the 4-hour time frame. This one only goes back as far as December 2020. Actually, that's when this thing launched. In fact, yeah, this is such a short-lived thing that might as well just draw in from down below. Handy if you want to use the magnet tool, which I'm about to do. Then that makes it easier to find your precise areas. Okay, I'm going to take the magnet tool off again, and then I'm going to bring up this thing here, and I'm going to go extend lines to the right. Okay, there we go. So went from this low to that high. You always go left to right when you're doing Fibonacci. Low to high. We're in here at the 382 Fibonacci line. Now the retracement point, you could call it. Now the 382 or the 38.2% or whatever you want to call it. I like saying 382 because I like talking about it that way in terms of like decimals. I mean, there is no right or wrong. Right, there's no right or wrong in anything that we do here. So anyway, we're back up above the 382. We came down. We did a 50% retrace. You know, so Dow was very, very, very happy to see this here. So Dow theory. Wow, look at that. Dow theory. Wow. Had us coming down here. Then what did we have here afterwards is potential for a. Let me just see if I can get this to look good. It's not going to be easy because if you've seen my art skills, you know. Well, okay, that'll do. Then what we have here is a potential doubly botley. I'll write it properly. Double bottom. There's no L in bottom. So is that a possible double bottom that we're seeing there at that point? And then we've moved towards the top side. Okay, now also I would probably at this stage as well, having identified a potential sort of chart pattern, look and see if it's fair to think about anything else. Could it be that we're looking at a sort of head and shoulders on the downside here? Now we don't have a head, right? We don't have a head. Here's a quick thing here. Is that a head and shoulders? So this is maybe the most popular phrase bandied about. Actually, it's not is that, because we're talking about there's a head and shoulders on X time frame. That's the most popular phrase bandied about amongst sort of novice traders who are trying to impress other people. Really. Instead, what they should be asking is that a head and shoulders, as opposed to there is a head and shoulders, because we can see here that the head is the same as the left shoulder. Alright, so in a situation where it's like that, what are you probably looking at? Probably looking at an Adam and put in the thingy there, Eve instead, right? So that's how you would talk about that. It's the same as all twin peak patterns. All twin peak patterns have got, or twin trough in this instance, have got a similar sort of basis anyway. Fling that off the charts. We don't really need it. But what I will say is I'll add to this one and I'll say Adam and Eve. Okay, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve there, potential for us. So as an Adam and Eve double bottom, therefore, if you wanted to say the full thing. And it's quite nice to have seen an Adam and Eve double bottom come in here at what the Dow theory would suggest would be a significant point in here at the 50% retracement line, and of course a clear area now of support and resistance. Okay, so that's a clear area, so we can start then to form up clear price points. And on this one, we're going to talk about the price point of 145 as being crucial as being as being the trend inflection point. Potentially at the moment. Okay, so one of the things partly as well in this discussion that I had earlier on, pre-show discussion in the Neverland chat room in the Discord, words, hey, in the Discord, was to do with would it be really bad to see the prices go down past the 50% Fibonacci retracement point? And part of the discussion was, well, it really depends on so many things, because you're looking towards the 50 or perhaps the golden pocket area before you would start to say things are quite bad, and at this stage here, seeing a double bottom here at the 50% kind of underscores, as we already did at the very outset of the show, of the GRT section of the show here, with that horizontal support and resistance line. So there you go. So that's obviously the trend, and that's what I'm going to call the trend inflection point. I'm going to make this here red, in fact, so that it's actually, no, I'm going to put it back to being green because it's so readable. Forget about that. But anyway, that's that one. The interim sort of support period, 178. We don't want to see that break. If we see 178 break, then you're looking at a big chunk down the way. I would expect us to retest this area. Okie dokie. But what about this Adam and Eve? What about this Adam and Eve? Is there something to be said about it? Well, look at that. This here is, of course, then therefore the neck, if you want to call it neck, or confirmation line of the A and E, the accident and emergency. Adam and Eve there. So that's what you've got there on this one. Okie dokie. And then from this point here, what I think is probably a good idea for most traders to do is to stick on a few moving averages. Now, actually, I need to change these back to the settings that I've been using of late before we go any further. Now, the numbers that you use in your Fibonacci and your moving averages, now, a lot of people are going to say a lot of things about them, but most people saying most of the things that they're saying are talking out their wazoos about it. Okay, really, ultimately, your consistency as a trader, your own individual track record, etc., is what's really going to kind of determine what numbers you decide to use. There isn't actually a best fit answer. However, if I had to give one, my best fit answer, if I had to choose one Fibonacci and you put a gun to my head, would of course be the not Fibonacci, exponential moving average, or simple, or any of that. Well, exponential would be the 21. Peter Brandt, as we spoke about last week, uses the 18 period, the 18, and I'm using which happens to be what I'm using here as part of this setup, but I actually prefer the 21, okay, as it happens. Anyway, this is what we're going with, and I'd pop all these things on, okay, I'd pop them on, but I'm going to start off by just kind of looking and seeing how have we performed in this 50% drop down, having come here, just to underline again the discussion that I had earlier on about the significance of dropping down past the 50% point. Well, as we can see here, if we did go down towards this area here and have a triple bottom instead, then what you're looking at is, of course, the likelihood being that you would see a cross happening here on the daily time frame between a death cross between the 200, no, not the daily time frame, the 4-hour time frame. So it's not the death cross, sorry, caveat explainer, it's not the death cross, but of course, if we saw a cross between the 200, which is this white line, simple moving average, and this red line, which is the 50 period simple moving average here, right? Then of course if we saw the prices dropping down here, we would see that death cross happening. Okay, that would be very negative, and it would preclude a lot of people from taking positive trades until such times as everybody else made the markets go past those points, or indeed until such times as the natural oscillations in the markets themselves led to these averages then coming back to being closer together and crossing back the way again. Now, what do we say after this happens is that we see, if we see these things cross, what do we say? Outcropticians out there all know it, they all know it already. New family members might be less might be less familiar with this, but of course outcropticians know this. If we were to see these cross again, the general expectation would be actually to see a retest of them, much in the same way as we saw a retest of them over here. Now this is obviously kind of, you know, not accurate to say, because there isn't enough price history for this 200 simple period average, moving average, to have actually, you know, to have crossed like this. But you can kind of tell, like, you can kind of tell if you were to extend it to the left that they would have just crossed, and then we had a retest of the 50 and the 200 simple thereafter, which means that if we did see the prices dropping down to this 50% area again, or indeed if we saw the prices dropping down towards this 618 area again, that I would probably anticipate some sort of bounce at that stage up towards testing this one or both of these moving averages, so either the 50 or the 200 at that stage. Now that's all the negative scenario, but it's good to know it in advance. What the positive scenario, of course, is that this simply doesn't actually occur. Just you know, throwing in a little bit of clarity on this one, if we did drop down, then you find that the 50 simple period moving average is actually lining up with that 50% area, and that would then give you a nice bounce area potential for us on that again at that triple bottom area, right? If that were to become a triple bottom at that stage. Now of course as well, the triple bottom, you know, support and resistance, they get stronger and stronger the more they get tested. Oh, blah blah blah. No, that's all bullshit. You don't want to see a triple bottom. You'd much rather see just a V-shaped recovery. Okay, we didn't get a V-shaped recovery. You'd much rather see a double bottom, maybe with an Adam and Eve. Okay, we didn't get that. You'd much rather see a triple, and you know, you can see how this story goes. You don't want to say, we tested it 55 million times, so we're really happy about it. No. Although actually, if you tested something 55 million times and you never broke it, at that point, I think it'd be fair to say it has become very strong. Okay, there is no precise point there where you'd say that it's helped it or it's damaged it. There isn't really one or the other. For just conversational basis, you're better off probably erring on the side of weakening as opposed to strengthening in both directions, which is why consolidation at an area of support or resistance is, of course, exceptionally good to see if you're looking to get into a trade past the breaking of it, as opposed to just simply going up there and hoping that we'll just push on past at that exact moment in time. So continuing on with this story, dropping back down to the 4-hour time frame here and saying buy jingles, by the way. I think this is really good. Let me know what your feedback is, Lord Verovan, and everybody else if you want to in the comments section. I don't know, I'm thinking feck me, this is some awesome technical analysis. I don't know what you're thinking out there, but I just remember from my point of view when I was watching technical analysis, you know, type of stuff freaking years and years ago, thinking, why don't they do it like this? Wouldn't that be better? Anyway, here we are. Be the change you want to see in the world. So I'm just going to remove those two from here. We kind of discussed them to death at this point, and instead I'm going to stick on these 4 down below and just kind of zoom on in. Now it's obvious to me that this is the way it would be in advance, but here we have it, and it might not be obvious to everybody, but we can see here that there is, of course, a coalescence, if you will, of the moving averages over here, and we can see that they're just starting to cross towards the top side. Now that's obviously quite good. It's good to see. It's lovely to see that they're just starting to cross towards the top side, and we're getting positive crosses. Now, of course, by which I mean, and this is also ties in nicely with what we were speaking about earlier on, by which I mean, you know, you can take off a couple so you're not so blinded by it, but of course everything's kind of crossing over nicely as well here, and it's just waiting at the minute. Will we see the 36 crossing over the 54? I wonder, because that's the last of the 4 of them to cross before we get to go up the way. Now, that does this kind of pertain to, if you like? Well, it pertains to the shorter term the shorter term structural area of this chunk right here. Excuse me, like I say, not 100% at the minute. So what would the significance be of coming back down towards this area, and what would the significance be of going back up above our previous highs? Well, I think there's a pretty easy way of identifying what the significance of this would be by leaning on or exploiting, if you want. Let's do that. You know, let's talk about it like exploiting. Let's exploit pattern type psychology when you're looking at the charts and say, well, look, 1, 2, 3 times we've come down towards this area, we've been up at that high, we've come up here, and we're now asking, if we were to sink back down the way, it would start to look like perhaps we've got a bit of a descending triangle on the go of some shape or another. Now, this on the 4-hour time frame doesn't look super magical, but on the 1-hour time frame we get several more touches on it. So let me just kind of rejig this slightly for us and say, hey, look, could we be in the throes of breaking one of these right now? Now, of course, if we were to break past this and move on up towards the top side, it gives us a measured move. We'll take a look at that in a minute. If we come back down and retest it, then that's all to the good. If we actually break the structure that we have over here and move on down the way, that's not obviously so good, and you'd be looking down here and saying, well, we would need to find some support where we did previously, or of course we're perhaps going for a measured move. What are the measured moves going to be off of this? You will not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, when you see that this lines up perfectly, obviously, right? It's obvious. I'm not doing anything particularly special here, and I hope that my sort of the last scenes of the final third, the final act of the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain thing that I'm doing here will hopefully dispel some of the magic of technical analysis for you, make it a whole thing more accessible for you. If you find that this type of technical analysis makes it more accessible for you, and as a result you learn more, then by all means drop a like on the video. And then you'll also not be surprised to see that movements from this, if it gets overextended, will take us up towards our previous area. But look at that. Of course, if we did get a movement up the way as a result of pushing outside of this zone, then we're taking out our previous high. Zooming over to the left though, it doesn't take us into the real highs. It just takes us past this little bit, and we'd be looking at an upward trend perhaps. I am tempted to talk about this in terms of this lower term time frame, by the way, as being like a head and shoulders, because we can see that the body's actually closed of these candles there, and the body's closed there, and giving us a bit of a head and shoulders as well on this thing. So if we had a head and shoulders on it, what would that then lead up to? But we'll take a look at that in a split second. But what this takes us up to is the 236. Now this would be your natural failure point on any sort of recovery from this downward trend aspect of things since the highs in the 11th of February down to where we find ourselves now. Of course, it's been the guts of a month, and a short month, but there you go. And we're looking up 3 weeks, let's call it the guts of a month. Then the 236 at 220 would of course be a key area for us. So what we really need to see is, if we want to sort of have a sort of the downward, the smaller time frame downward trend break point comes in at 2 places. One fib theory over I'll type this in simpler. The fib theory would be in at 220, so that would be very good. And of course, just market structure looking for highs, we'd have to then be looking up towards our previous high, and let's just say that we'll consecutive opens and closes on a decent enough time frame up above that price point there, which is what 270 is going to be the next one. Okay. Right, so how does all of this line up the way? Well, I'm probably going to find that there's yet another no surprise element for us. Let's kind of draw a rough neckline in here so we know where to measure from. This is a 1 hour time frame, looking at this thing and saying that there's a potential for head and shoulders. Well, if we were to go up here and push past it, that takes us up to, well, that would give us a sort of triply top type aspect of things, but it's not like, setting the heather alight necessarily. I could sort of cheat and scratch up a little bit, but still not setting the heather alight necessarily in terms of changing that trend. Okay, so even if we did have a big one here, then we're not necessarily going to then fly on up the way parabolically afterwards. All of these points, if we were to get to them, and there's a good chance of profit taking having happened in there. But the head and shoulders move takes us up towards 260. I suppose let's call it 250 and be a little bit less sort of overeager on it. And as well, let's just quickly point out that in terms of the textbook of these things, actually you're looking for the sort of 60% area, and that means that it's actually taking up towards 230. So the textbook measures move off of the head and shoulders would take you up towards this area of liquidity. You can get double confirmation on that sort of thing by just sticking on the VPVR so we can see it for ourselves. Here, And well, actually no, despite the fact that there was a fair amount of price action happening in here, there was no huge nodes along the way there overall, but you can see that you can see how this lines up with our Fibonacci very nicely. Key points for us, for takeaway points, obviously here things get very exciting for the good side. Here you can see this is the largest area of the VPVR, and on average, you know, the next, you know, the actual largest area as a result of having come down here towards the 382 and spent this time consolidating in here is at the 382 there in terms of the larger, but breadth-wise, it doesn't have the full range that one does. But look at this here, how it drops off down to the 618 before it kicks in again. Lovely. I didn't know it would be like that. I'm just trying to demonstrate to you the way that technical analysis always comes back around and links together again. There isn't really one single school of technical analysis which you should just say is the best, because that ignores the interdependency of everything when you're extrapolating it out from just 3 pieces of information. What's the price, how much volume was there, and what is the time? That's the 3 pieces of information that every single other piece of technical analysis is derived from, which is why there's always an overlap, and it's why you shouldn't just put all your chickens in one basket or whatever. I guess you put the eggs in, but what came first? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what came first? So what's next then on this around the technical analysis world that we're looking at? There's other ways, but at this point here, since I've kind of more or less covered everything in terms of price action, everything's just gonna overlap again for us. Let us just do some of that overlap though real quick. I'll stick on the Donchian channels here. In terms of this 1 hour time frame, you can see that it's clearly pointing towards, you know, our little zone of the our little zone of this down towards the 382, and of course where our recent high was in terms of Donchian channels. But in terms of a larger time frame, we'll probably see some overlap here. Oh, glorious, look at this, glorious fake out territory from this ascending triangle would come up towards where our second high was. Our inflection on the way down the way as part of this structure. So then you're looking towards $2. It's a nice round number. It's where the top end of the Donchian channels are. Clearly a significant area for us. Let me just see where's my thing here. So give me this $2, essentially $2 if you want to say, you know, well, what's the next target, Rocky? What's the next target, Rocky? Question mark. Well, conversationally, well, that would have to be in at the top end of the fake out territory, in there at that round number of $2, which also happens to be the top end of the Donchian channels. Right, perfect, lovely typing. And then what we then of course also can see is numerous other overlaps. Let's do it. Let's overlap with love over here by sticking the Ichimoku cloud on. Now we can see that this is obviously causing a great deal of mess on the chart, so let's just try and use our memories for a second here to try and see if or we can flick between them, I suppose. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So the lower end of our ascending triangle, or descending triangle, lines up perfectly with the lower end of the Ichimoku cloud, and of course that would be, you know, significant to go past that area, probably, right? I don't know. What are we doing? I don't know. Might be worth being aware of. So let's just reiterate again the significance of 175. Did we already type that in there already? No, we don't have that, so that obviously needs to be on there. So if we are looking down the way at the minute, you know, the nearest real danger zone past the 382 is going to obviously be the lower end of that ascending triangle, and the cloud. The itchy and scratchy cloud. Okay, so cool. So that's the obvious significant area, which equals $1.70. Wait, 170, 174. I think I was probably going to go for with that one. And then what else do we want to do? I mean, we've absolutely done more analysis than you could have poked a stick at so far. But what else do we want to do in terms of this thing? Let's see for a second. We are above the cloud right now. Let me hide my moving averages, make it a little bit cleaner for us. We are above the cloud right now, but what we've had just there now is a negative cross. I would not be going long on this right now based off of the itchy and scratchy cloud right now. Instead, I'm waiting to see if these things cross over. That ties together perfectly with everything that we've been saying. What else is missing from this TA at this point here? What else is missing? What else is missing? What's missing? What have I not done? Hey, anybody out there in the chat, let me know in the chat there what I could possibly... Oh, the oscillators, thanks. I mean, because I knew myself. Right, gosh, let's do this. Right, so we've already done 100%. Let's take it, push it to the limit. What sort of enthusiasm would we have? Let's double down on the compounding of our enthusiasm. If we were to go up towards the top side, hidden bullish divergence. Oh, how lovely is that? Breaking out past the top end of this ascending triangle type idea. Now, of course, it isn't a perfect descending triangle. Let's not beat about the bush with that one. It isn't. Over there on the 1 hour time frame, it looks a lot more like it could be, but certainly not with the itchy and scratchy cloud on at the same time. But yeah, you know, there we have it. By the way, 1 hour time frame, this is crossed, positive cross, but it's crossing within the cloud itself. If you're going to be a itchy and scratchy cloud enthusiast, then you're probably looking at this and saying you wouldn't take a trade on this while it crosses within the cloud itself. Now, bearing in mind that this is obviously unlikely to cross after it moves outside of the cloud, but you know, you're looking for these two lines to move outside of the cloud itself. What does that really mean in simple terms? What you're looking for is the average price to be above the 50% retracement price over the period from the last major period of consolidation or price action within the last 24 candles or so. 26 candles, right? That's what I'm trying to say there, to put it in simple terms. That hidden bullish divergence, is that real? Is that a thing there or not? I don't think that that's fair, given... No, it is a thing. It's a thing. We've got a tiny bit of hidden bullish divergence there. Things look like they're setting up for an upward move. Okay, they do. This is the overall. This is the story that we're painting here. A lot of people watch my show, and at the end of it, they're like, I don't know, he told me everything that I could possibly need to know, but I still don't know from all of that what I need to know. I'm building up a narrative here, as you can see, looking at these smaller time frames, combining them with the bigger time frames, and looking at the overall picture. There is a good case to be made for a movement towards the top side, and of course, very easy to manage risk zones, and that's what I've pointed out here. So let's just be clear about that. I'll check in with the chat in a second to see if there's anything that anybody thinks that I've missed from the technical analysis so far. By the way, this is going to be the most detailed technical analysis that I do today, right? I'm not going to do the rest of them as detailed as this. I just wanted to give Lord Verhoeven the a bonus, right? Because, and everybody else watching along, a shit ton of education. And why? Well, check it out. The guy was generous. He put in the donation before it even actually come on camera, and there you have it, right? So let's just hope he's still kicking about and actually watching this thing, hey? I'm sure he is. I'm sure you are. Excuse me for talking about you in the third person when you're probably still in the room, right? But there is also a real danger right now. Again, like, it's not crossed over. It's not worth going long right here, right now. Why is it not worth going long right here, right now? There's too much working against us in terms of if we had to build up a picture about it. We don't have to, but here I am doing it. And one of those major things is, you know, the fact that we've got this bearish divergence. What do I often say when we see bearish divergence on a chart? Well, I often say that that there is the potential when you see bearish divergence on a chart to have some sort of wedge of one form or another. Is that possible in this area? Could it just actually be forming a wedge just here? Is this the real wedge, or is it a descending triangle caught in the charts? Yeah, No escape from the price action. Open your eyes, look up to the price and see. I'm just a shit coin. I need no sympathy, 'cause I'm easy pump, easy dump. Anyway the price goes doesn't really matter to me. Bum 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 ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum bum. The graph doo-doo-doo-doo could easily come back down to test off of the downward sloping line of this triangle. Why is that? We're in a wedge, and this is where support would be. Bum 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 ba-dum bum. Bearish divergence on the back. D RSI. Bum ba-da-dum. Why'd you have this divergence? I know you're above the moving average, but could we not be in the bullish control zone? I want to see overbought prices, but we've not got them. We're kind of flagging. Just a minute. Bum 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 bum. DMI. I know you've positively crossed, but the ADX remains below 25. We don't have a strength of trend. We're just in the final throes of consolidation. Bum 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 bum. Stochastics. Doo-doo-doo. Why are you turning around? Could it be you're about to piss me off with a negative cross? Maybe. I don't know. These are just the risk assessments. Dum 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 I love technical analysis. Thanks so much to everybody for joining me. If you're getting anything at all of value from this show, the share button isn't a million miles away from that like button. You are more than welcome to hit both of them. Let's go back over to Bitcoin. I'm going to check in with the chat there, see how everybody's been getting along. Yeah, Dan, I could have gone on. Should have gone on. The temptation was there. The temptation was there, right? The temptation was so strong. I could have done it. I could have done the whole 7 minutes or whatever. I could have done it, right? But anyway, how you all getting along? Let's see. Scrolling up the way, just see, because I've been at that for quite a while. Actually, it's funny that you say that, K-Doc. Yes, indeed, he is the sole recipient in my will. Funnily enough, and if we were to both die at the same time, then everything that I own goes to the leprosy charities, which is nice. I would really like it if we could solve leprosy. Anyway, nice to see you chatting. Team's all here. Where's Tony? Yeah, where's Tony, the slacker? That's cool. Nice, thanks for chatting there. Artie Pyle, the old spell check failure, always thinks I was really talking about that ducking thing over there. Oddly, it corrects the alternative now, which is typically the standard. Yeah, man, I've taught my phone some terrible language with spell check. Who broke Rocky this time? Says K-Talk. Lucky the mic has auto-tune. No, it... Yeah, I'm not giving up the old trading to start a career in singing anytime soon. Danny Ray, I gave some thoughts on Theta really briefly earlier on, which is that I'm not looking at Binance and KuCoin and thinking that, well, you know, that they're probably owned by the same people and whatever else, that there isn't an arbitrage opportunity. What I'm going to say is that while there is an arbitrage opportunity there, I expect some sort of contraction or some sort of expansion between the two of them, but I'm not going to have two major cryptocurrency exchanges with prices 20% apart, 17.5% apart. Fuck it, you do the maths, I can't be bothered. In terms of prices of a majorly traded asset on those exchanges, and then go ahead and recommend anything to anybody. Those are my thoughts, right? Right. Here for the singing, 3,000 Trin, thanks so much. I do too much of that. when you consider that I can't sing. Also shared on FaceSpace. Oh, thanks so much. I love it when people share my stuff on FaceSpace. I'm a massive FaceSpace fan myself. If anybody wants to put me on, it's really annoying how YouTube doesn't have links to automatically share on the likes of Bebo and MyFace as well. So if you want to put it on Bebo and MyFace, then go ahead and do that. That's cool. Hi, yes, SignRT, but from Amsterdam. He says, show up for the TA and get a musical. Lol. Hey Rocky, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin decacycles? Decacycles, check it out. Decacycles. Well, I mean, my thought singular on Bitcoin decacycles is that we're talking about an asset that's 10 years old, buddy. I mean, there isn't any. We could go on to it a bit more, but Mukti Marley. Hello, Mukti Marley. Lovely to have you here. Hey, Rocky. I currently have 7.5 Ethereum and like $2,000 in Bitcoin or so. What would you think would be a good way to diversify them too? Cool. Good question. Let's talk about that for a minute. But while we look at the wait, Bebo, is it still a thing? I don't know, man. I don't know. I used to love sharing hearts with folks. Lovely to see 20 concurrent viewers. What's not so nice is that there's only 19 likes. It means that somebody didn't like my singing out there. Right. So, what were we talking about there? Somebody said about diversifying, right? Let's just briefly explore a couple of ideas here with regards to this. Now, you've got Bitcoin and you've got Ethereum coin. Ethuzd. But Ethereum Bitcoin, by the way, 24-hour time frame here. 24-hour time frame. Poor Peter Brandt went in on a long, and then he didn't do so well during this month. I wonder what he'll say in his analysis towards the end of the month. Bum 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 bum. Nice to see this having come back down to, you know, this area again, and retest it moving towards the top side. Don't want to see this thing flagging around about this area. But anyway, what you're doing, by the way, is you're investing in the two daddy coins. I call them the daddy coins. Overall, they're the majors when it comes to cryptocurrency. You know, in Forex, you've got majors, you've got minors, and you've got exotics. Well, in terms of cryptocurrency, you've got majors, and really the two of them, let's be honest, because what's the point in talking about things like stable coins as being a part of that group? You've got, but they are, you've got Ethereum and Bitcoin, and you're heavily invested in both of them, and you're looking to diversify. What would be a good idea? Well, you'd want to look for some assets which are slightly less correlated. Now, that's hard to identify when you're in the throes of a bull run, when everything seems to be going up together, and that major shocks in the market are felt by all equally, and so are pumps, or not equally, but to greater or lesser extent. But you're looking and saying there's a distinct correlation that's going on across the board in this rising tide raising all ships atmosphere. However, you can look across the very long term and say what would be good. Perhaps some Chainlink might be all right. Perhaps something like, now again as well, I trade Tezos and I'm a massive advocate for Tezos overall. Maybe there's something to be had here. It's going to be interesting to check back on this and talk about the pitchfork again, right? Probably going to be interesting to talk about that, or at least talk about the significance of this sort of area here at 430. We're above 420. It does want to get high, but the question is going to be: I was going to go to the moon, but then I go high. Pum, 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 pum. I was going to make you all dead wealthy, but then I got high. Bam, bam. I'm looking at Tezos at 420 and asking why. Do you want to get hacked? So anyway, right. So that would be, so maybe some other ones, and that's maybe something to think about. Okay, maybe something to think about is trying to find assets which are slightly less correlated. I'm not going to actually financially advise you here and give you the exact ideas about it, but we can look towards the to try and identify this sort of thing a little bit better. What you might want to do specifically then, therefore, I suppose, is look at their pairings versus Bitcoin and versus Ethereum. Looking at this one just as an example, Tezos versus Bitcoin. This is the 24-hour time frame, and we've come down to this low. You can see obviously we nailed some technical analysis back then, and that was brilliant. Obviously, great. Enough with the blow and smoke up my own bum, though, eh, Rocky? Quit it. At this point here, we're asking questions about the overall upward trend on this one. Is it going to last? It is obviously now. I'm borrowing those, but what I'll do instead is just draw new ones. What we're actually at now is I'll change this back to red. Or I'll make it that really that full on green actually, is that we're obviously in a sort of broadening structure just now. It's broadening out the way here, so there's questions to be asked about that one. Just for now, we are making it back up to at least, you know, our current inflection point at 236, made it above it here with this one. This is probably a fairly decent bet. Looking at this overall, I mean I don't like seeing the stochastics up like this, but at this stage, maybe we're actually right. Okay, look here in the stochastics with Tezos. We'll come back and we'll talk about all this stuff in the nearest of futures. But we're looking at here saying, like, we've found in the recent past. Well, maybe putting that in so slanted is giving people the wrong impression about what I'm talking about. We found in the recent past that we've come up towards this overbought territory here, but we've not managed to actually successfully really crack into it. And in fact, we've come up to it, yes, we're going to do it, come down, right? Come up to it, yes, we're going to do it, but we haven't quite yet. However, the prices are so low at the minute. Could it be that we're about to see things kind of crack on up the way versus Bitcoin? Well, it would be nice, but what you want to maybe do is look at the Bitcoin pairing and the Ethereum pairing, and then go sanity check it against the dollar pairing. Okay, so like they've got that. Here's Tezos versus Ethereum for an example, just as a sort of chart that you could be looking at right now. Is this a bottoming formation? It's what you're asking at this stage. Is it or is it not? Because I mean, this is a hella downtrend. We've actually had all-time lows against Ethereum, and considering that Tezos wants to put the boot on the neck of Ethereum, this is obviously not great for the Ethereum killers out there for us. Can we see something here? Have we got bullish divergence? Yes, we do. Do we have bullish divergence? Yeah, we got bullish divergence. Nice turnaround here at this point, finding support here, makes it for an easy enough trade. Now if you were trading this against Ethereum, then if it went wrong, then your stop would take you back into Ethereum again. So you're not going back to a stable coin, you're going back into Ethereum. And maybe just then thinking that if you want to diversify, look for assets which have got a historical slight difference to the rest of the world. I mean, there's a lot, of the 10 billion cryptocurrencies out there, a lot of them have got direct correlation with Bitcoin price, and what maybe you might want to look for something that has got less of that if you're looking to diversify. If you're not looking at it that way, then what you're doing is you're just spreading your attention span across multiple other assets, which obviously increases the amount of risk, because it decreases the amount of time and attention that you could spend to any given particular chart, which for some people isn't very much time at all, and therefore you're not diversifying your assets. You're just kind of diversifying your attention, and that's not going to help you, okay, when they're correlated anyway. So be wise about things, employ a bit of savvy there, Chavi, and you'll be all right. I'm all for solar, says KDoc. Stick a Tesla battery on that and boom, who needs 18k energy bills from the crooks of Texas, says KDoc in the chat right now. Don't know what you're talking about, but anyway, Tradespot doing TA on the weather. It's on a parabolic run. Well, actually, you get to this period in Scotland, and funny you say that, but that's actually a really good way of thinking about it. The time here, 10 past 10, obviously the sun's gone down quite a while ago, but the sun's starting to go down really, it's starting to get to that stage where it goes down, and we've got a little bit more drag in the evening. Now, if you're from somewhere closer to the equator, you won't know what I'm talking about here, but the likes of KDoc and Kai that are watching along right now from Scotland will be more than aware, and of course as well our Norwegian or Norse or friend as well, that's watching along, he'll know all about it. In summertime we get nights that last until 11 p.m, days that last until 11 p.m. The sun goes down really, really slowly. It never fully goes away properly, and then it's bright again, fully bright by 3 a.m. and for me, that's fantastic. I'm much more of a summer person than I am a winter person, and I'm really looking forward to that parabolic run that we're about to go on in terms of daylight and weather. Of course the weather, the good weather ends by the end of May in Scotland, and then you're in for like, you know, a year of winter again. So it's short-lived. Anyway, that was a good laugh. Good laugh. Right. Okay. So we're going to have to do some Bitcoin technical analysis here to keep everybody informed. I've got these 3 boxes here. Oh, look at that. 51. No. This is just the same as it was earlier. Well, yeah. The main points of, I'm not going to put that right on top of the prices because it gives the wrong impression, doesn't it? When it's sat right there. This pitchfork was BS in the end. Obviously, that's obviously BS, so I'm just going to remove that. Happy to admit when some idea of mine was obviously BS, and there we go. There's a classic example of some of that for me, and leaves you in a position where you're not really able to draw one on particularly well. In fact, no, that's maybe not fair. Maybe the BS element of this was because I'd simply drawn it on using the wrong areas. Let's try and adjust this slightly and see if we get anything out of it. I mean, I'm not going to. It's the whole ancient Chinese proverb, when in a hole, stop digging sort of thing. But it's not what I'm actually doing. I'm not digging. Where's my pitchfork? There she is. So there's our actual low over there recently. Boo. Is this actually breaking the structure of the pitchfork? It kind of is in a way, but we'll go with it. We'll go with it and change this to original. Yeah. Maybe no, shift is going to be, yeah. Okay, shift. We'll go with shift for now. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. But it's not a surprise. It's not really a surprise to see that the top end of the extension of the pitchfork lines up perfectly with this liquidity zone at the previous highs. I mean, that's a function of mathematics as much as it is my TA skills or whatever. But that, you know, breaking outside of this is obviously a good. The thing with pitchforks is that and channels, or anything that looks like a channel, acts like a channel, walks like a channel, looks like a channel, talks like a channel, probably is. So even though pitchforks are nothing like channels, they're absolutely everything like channels. It is a trend changing thing as opposed to necessarily a measured move type aspect that you're looking to on that one. Anyhow, yeah, not looking at that. What about this pattern here? Have we got a bit of a W on the go? It'd be nice to have Tony in here. He'd be talking about W's. Overall, is that a W pattern giving us a potential neckline? Well, I think it's quite clear that the real significance areas is this zone here, really between where the prices are here up towards the 618. That's the real significant area. Traders looking to catch the guts of a 10% move without actually having exposed themselves to the maximum of the risk would probably be looking to manage the trades in it around about that zone. People who are looking to get in it around about now will have to do the same sort of move that we discussed last week. This red horizontal serrated line in here, the rusty colored line, is of course the key area for us. Staying above this at the minute is going to be key. I'm a little bit hungover from the chit chat that I had with Sean Thomas before starting the show, where I was talking about the potential for negativity. So I'm going to have to cleanse my system of that by speaking it out loud here as well. So let's just bring in a couple of ideas for us and see if there's if it's still the case, if it's still negative. So how far have we come? Right here, we're right on it. So counterintuitively speaking, I would rather see the prices come back down to this to 50,800. I would rather see the prices go to 50,800 than to go another $200 up and close this 4-hour candle. Okay, slightly counterintuitive, but right now I would rather see the prices go to here than to go another $200 up. I'm glad that this wick exists. It's not that much of a surprise to see it there, given the nature of these tops. Now, as it stands currently, we're currently in a position where we've got bearish divergence. Is if we see a pullback past this point. So what I would like to see, the ideal scenario, is that we go down to here and then up, given this is a very, very good trade. This red and green area in the background would be a very good trade for us to have if this was the case. On the shorter term time frames, of course, you know, just simply put, now if we push on down past that point, then of course, then what you're looking at is the bearish divergence starting to play out, and then I'd be worried about various levels down below. There is a good deal of weakness right now in the market market is really what I'm getting to in it around about these areas. Now, if we actually explode and go on up the way, groovy, that'd be fantastic. But if you're looking at this from on the 4-hour time frame, let me just point out that we're obviously on the 4-hour time frame. That drawing a line to the time doesn't work because I've got it separated. We're on the 4-hour time frame, and you can see between these two areas here that you can see between the high here and the next high, which was sort of doubly topping at the minute on this one, there's that bearish divergence, okay, on the MACD. Now it's not on the RSI, right? Is it? No, it is. Bearish divergence on the RSI as well. MACD, bearish divergence. What does MACD bearish divergence means? Every single one of you watching right now should know the answer to this because we already discussed it during this show. Means that you're looking at a potential wedge. 4-hour time frame, not the most fantastic one. Jumping down towards the 1-hour time frame, what I wanted to say before was that if you look at the MACD here and the if you look at the MACD here, you can see that there's this potential for divergence here just at these last 2 points, but this isn't real on this time frame because this is the high, and we're comparing it to the previous high. Everything in between is flux. On the RSI, you can see that if you could make that distinction on this time frame, which you can't, but obviously you can on a lower time frame, then you'd be looking here and saying, oh look, there's the potential for convergence. It's not divergence, it's not potential, it's real. So we have a wedge here dropping down the time frame at this point here. Then we can see between this high and the high that we're at that there's this bearish divergence, which is obvious and it's real, and it's even got lows in between as well. A low in between, a hidden bullish divergence low in between. Yeah, we're not finished yet. If we push up, I want us to push up properly. Otherwise, it's weak, right? This hidden bullish divergence could be what's taken us to here, which then subsequently drops down, and the visible bearish divergence, which is generally going to be the visible divergence is generally speaking stronger than hidden divergence, then would kick in, and that would be a problem, and you'd be looking at this wedge, and you'd be talking about a measured move off of the back of this one down the way towards a target in around about this golden pocket down here. So that all makes perfect sense, you know, to me, whether or not I've said that properly. Breaking down past this red serrated line, which is of course lining up at the lower end of that wedge, which is identified by the divergence that we're seeing on the charts versus the MACD, and we can see that there's that wedge there. It's confirmed, it's all there, and we could drop down the way. Let's just check in. We see that this had this the party stopped here, bing bong. Another example of the DMI indicator giving you that little freebie here, by the way, for people over here. At this particular price, see this background that I've got drawn in here. Nobody else talks about this in the world, but it's worth pointing out that you've got this, and the prices were here when it was white. It ended. The prices then were volatile. Where did they go to? Right back to where they left off from. The wind blows high, the wind blows low. Divergence, or my volatility indicator. Here we go. Right. And that's where we are with Bitcoin, okay? That's where we are with Bitcoin. Tempted to just leave it at that, and everybody in the world will be like, oh my god, that was just not good enough, that technical analysis. But then actually it's kind of like I've already gone through everything in terms of that GRT chart about how you could approach this, about how you could approach trading right now, and I'm introducing the context for Bitcoin, and it's kind of on you a little bit. I mean, it's not really. It depends on what your level is, but I'm making it so that I've told you 200% of the information that you need and how you could approach things on one chart, and I'm immediately following it up at the minute with giving you 80% of the information that you might need, and saying to you, if you can find it within yourself, regardless of whether or not your assessments turn out to be correct, if you can find it within yourself to try and reconcile the difference between those two chunks of the show, then you will be learning so quickly. That would be deliberate practice. It would be fantastic if you're able to do that. You would develop skills really, really, really quickly if you just try and identify what is the missing 20%. And it's not even 20%, it's more like 5% that's missing. Or less. Right. In fact, tell you what. I'll just prove to you that in more ways than one, I've given you all the information that you could possibly need right now, right here, by making one of those clips for the folks back home, ladies and gentlemen. For the folks back home, Yeah, whatever. I just see K-Doc saying Scotland welcomes you, Artie. That's right. Everybody who wants to be an honorary Scotsman, there's very few rules for it. I'll let you in on it if you want to be an honorary Scotsman. Scotland would welcome you. We welcome all, one and all. Right, so what I'm going to do here is a quick clip for the folks back home. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I need to drop a stream marker, and this will prove to you that I've already given you more than enough information, because I'm not going to say anything that I haven't said, but it's going to be done along the lines of how it would be if you watched another channel on the interwebs. So by the way, don't tune out if you hear me saying cheerio or anything like that, don't tune out. This isn't the end of the show by any means. We've got a wee while to go yet, but we're going to be doing some analysis. No, I'm going to be making a video. I cut this out from the live show and I publish it separately. It's good because a lot of people don't know about the live streams, etc., or understand the value of watching the whole thing, and then making this little clip makes it more accessible to a wider audience, okay? Right. The best profit, maximum success in your Bitcoin to US dollar trading career. Thanks so much for joining me. Likes and subscribes go a long, long way. Hi folks, as you can see, this is filmed during a live stream. These live streams are the best in the world. Be sure to tune in for one of them sometime. The wee notification bell will let you know when I go live. What we're looking at in the charts is boiling down to this wedge right here. How do we know that we're in a wedge? It's hard to see in the 24-hour time frame. Drop down to the 1-hour time frame and this becomes a hell of a lot more visible. Okay, wait a minute, that's tell you what, I'll just make this line up a little bit nicer first, and then I'll just do that bit again. Let's do that little bit again, right? Okay, cool. I'll edit it, probably. Sometimes I forget, sometimes I don't because it's kind of funny. Hi friends, what was I saying there? So the intro clip ended, then I cut it, and then I come back here. The Bitcoin prices are in a wedge right now. This up on the screen at the minute is the 1-hour time frame. By the way, this is a live show that this is filmed in during the doesn't take much to throw me off my game, does it? The 1-hour time frame up here on the charts shows us the wedge that we could be in right now. This is confirmed when we see on the MACD that there is, of course, bearish divergence looking at the highs. We'll check that out in just a second. Before we dive into TA, look down there. That's right, it's a live chat box. That's because we're in the throes of a live episode right now. Be sure to hit that notification bell and you can come back and join us for one day. They're really, really great. We have a really good laugh on the show. Anyway, what I'm looking at right now is, of course, this wedge here. There's a couple of different ways that you could play this. Waiting for confirmation, you're looking at this area in the background, pushing up past the 618 golden pocket where we have a liquidity zone in our previous high. That's going to be key. The profit taking targets on this, if you don't want to be too greedy, come in just shy of 55 grand. If we're looking down the way, then we do have a fake out territory which could come in down as low as sort of 50,800, where we were just a couple of hours ago. I don't like the idea of rushing into longs before we get there if they're just trading it within this wedge structure with the potential for fake out. But if we did actually push on down past that, I'd be happy to let trades go at the 50k level, because I'd be thinking perhaps with prices could be coming on down towards the 47,000 thereafter ish sort of zones. In it around about that area, we have the 236 Fibonacci retracement zone, and as well another 236 from different Fibonacci's that we have across larger time frames, going between lows and highs on the charts, of course, here for us. This is key. Can you take the advantage of this? I'm sure you can. Looking towards fake out breakout territory in here, 52k at the top side, bearing in mind that we really want to push past that golden pocket. Looking in here at sort of fake out breakout territory down here at 51k, bearing in mind 50,700, big area. 50,000 itself also key, and I would be looking at this as a potential for us if we were to find recovery after a fake out for a trade up, pushing on past it, going down here towards these lows, of course. Where we go thereafter is going to be up to you to figure out if you don't tune in for more of these episodes, but we'll tell you along the way. The bearish divergence is visible to be seen there on the MACD. Worth pointing out that between the last couple of highs on the RSI, right here within the wedge, we're not divergent. Looking beyond that, though, we would be divergent unless we pushed right into the bullish control zone with a movement past this. That's why I'm talking about getting that confirmation, pushing past that 618. Okay, great. Thanks so much. Really do appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to come back for more of this. Okay, cool, nice one. So you see what I mean? I had already told you more than 10,000% more than what you maybe would have needed to trade. And if you were, and other traders, other crypto YouTubers wouldn't go in, probably wouldn't go into, not talking about the really great ones out there or whatever, just talking about your average 200k subscriber channel, probably wouldn't go into much more detail than any of that anyway. Now there's plenty of other things I could have talked about. We talk about this all the time in the show, and since you're still here and we're still doing the TA, why don't we continue then a little bit? I'll not really go into great detail on them though, because like I say, you would learn so much if you were to try and embrace the idea of learning yourself. And by the way, actually notice that Artie Pyle has dropped in a little donation, and so has Dan Anthony. I'm going to check in with those in just a second after we finish talking about these couple of little things here. But sticking on the moving averages here, you can see that the 200 simples coming in here is within the measuring of this measures. It's within the range of this measured move. The 50 simples in our previous low, taking that out there is a bit of a problem. We had this volatility sector here happen with this white background on as well. We had it a couple of times. I already showed you on a different time frame where that was. Where do we see it here? We see it here. This gives you this idea that we could be coming down. Now, is there a great chance of it? Well, there's a great chance. Is it guaranteed? No, it's not. But if we saw the prices coming down to 47,000, then, well, you know, I mean, it's there, right? Things working against that at the minute, of course, is the fact that this is in a positive cross scenario. Now, what we're seeing as well is that the ADX is still actually in chop territory, which gives you the potential for that, which is why it's important to think about confirmations and managing your risk. Of course, the third and final missing measured move off of this thing would be, of course, a short one to go down. The fourth and sort of additional one would be then how you would handle the trading thereafter. Right, let me just see what the chat is. Dan Anthony, did they come up? Did they come up on screen? Because I didn't actually notice if they came up on screen. Let me just actually play them again just to check. Yeah, it did. Sweet. Wow, 20 bucks through super chat. How awesome is that? Let me just see as well. Dan Anthony's one, I think you put a message in as well. You did, yeah. You're killing it today, Rock. Great job. I'm always learning here. Check that out. Don't know why the messages aren't showing up, but there you go. Artie Pyle, Trey, Trip, good friend of mine now. Trip, what did you say? Rocky, send a warm welcome to Mike Knows. I recommended him from another channel. Ah, Mike. Warm welcome, fantastic. Mike's actually already had a bit of a laugh with us earlier on. If you scroll right to the very, very, very top, then you don't see shit actually, sorry. But what happened earlier on, if you didn't see Artie, you might not have been around for it at the time, was that Mike came in and said first after other people had put in comments. And then K-Duck was like, you're not first, you're not even second, you know, because Drew had come in and said something as well before he'd put in the first, and then Mike was laughing about it. And then a couple other people saw it and said first, and then I jumped in and said first, and we're all having a laugh about saying first and stuff. So nice warm welcome to Mike. Oh, damn, I'm famous, lol, says Mike. Yeah, so great, you're all part of the family. I think nice warm welcome for Mike there. Everybody give Mike a warm Rocky Outcrop welcome to the family there. So thanks so much for that. That's great. A friend of yours, Trip, is of course a friend of all of ours. Well done, Mike. Congratulations. You've just made 2,700 new friends. Welcome to the family. It's great to have you here. Jinsey, will Asia dump Bitcoin within the next 10 hours or so, maybe? Well, maybe, but I don't really go into that sort of chat. Instead, I've already explained it with regards to the technical analysis. So in terms of answering it, I'd say, yeah, absolutely, maybe. Your timing that you've suggested there works out perfectly for the Asian market to take that if it wants to. If the Asian market wants to turn that into a lovely movement down the way there, then there you go. If not, then there you go. Train me to make money, says Mike Knows. Okay, cool. Well, Mike was first, says Josh Kennedy. Welcome, Mickey. See that, Dan Anthony? Thanks so much. Warm Rocky Outcrop. Can't speak. Rocky Outcrop, welcome there. Woo, says Mike. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. We're teaching you to make money. A lot of what teaching somebody to make money involves, really, to be quite honest with you, is giving somebody the skills to learn how to learn. That's what you're getting on this channel. You noticed earlier on when I said about that 80% gap, when in reality I've kind of told you what you need to know anyway. I mean, if you're looking for the maximum, the safest trades based on real reasons right now in the charts, we've gone through that far more than your average YouTuber would be bothered. Various other things that you could look at yourself, and we've talked about them in the graph, so you could kind of maybe do that yourself, but that isn't even it. I'm not giving you homework over here. What I'm trying to do, and I'm not talking to you, Mike, specifically, I'm talking to the whole community, everybody, is to try and give people the skills that they need to learn how to learn the right way. If I put you on the motorway towards success, the highway towards success, it's a hell of a lot better than taking those B roads, those country roads, those back roads where you're having to go around every single twist and turn. No, what I want to do is put you on the highway to success, okay? Now, a lot of that, the engine, the fuel, the wheels, the driver, that's you, okay? I'm the spirit guide, I'm the highway, you're the one driving the car. If we can meet in the middle here, then you'll go from 0 to 60 very quickly, okay? That's what we're doing here. I am trying to do that. I really hope it works for you. Mike Knows says, RT Pile, stick around, watch the reruns. He's way better than the others on the tube. Wow, nice one. It's always nice when you just read a random latest comment off the chat and it's a compliment to me. Thank you so much. Sean Thomas putting in all of the emojis right up to the limit. What a smart guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you did it. You know Nightbot would have got you. You stuck in any more. Nice one there. Good one. Sean Thomas, great guy as well. By the way, Sean Thomas, really lovely guy. He was part of that pre-show that we talked earlier on. He was, really lovely guy. Everybody here, I don't want to single somebody out as if to say, when I say Sean Thomas, really lovely guy, that doesn't mean, for instance, let me just choose another name. Cynarch Official isn't a lovely guy at all. Cynarch as well, really lovely. Okay, everybody in here, fantastic. The people who aren't are the ones who are like, friends, I don't know, I can't do that. But everybody who sticks around at this channel, everyone who sticks around this channel is so great. I mean, you all are. I'm so proud of you. So incredibly proud of you. You're such great human beings, every single last one of you. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. Right, cool. Moving on. Right, cool. Ethereum oozed. What do we need to talk about here? Right, okay, so let me just do that. I can't really, I'm just going to try and get through this a bit quicker in terms of this chunk. So I'm setting another stream marker in there, and we'll just kind of ad-lib this one as we go. Turning really yellow from time to time on the screen. I don't know what that's all about. Whatever. I'm just going to try and ad-lib this one as we go. Okay, so move over a little bit so I'm in the camera. Hi friends, Ethereum is experiencing a head and shoulders right now. Will we see that actually launch it up into the moon? Into the moon? No, you don't want to launch things into the moon. That sounds dangerous. What you want to have is a nice sort of Elon Musk landing on the moon. We'll start this one again. Ethereum prices are on the up and up. Isn't it great to see? Is this off the back of a head and shoulders on the charts? Potentially it is. Let's take a look at the Ethereum price versus US dollar here and really establish if there's any key things that we need to know right now in the price action. Thanks so much for joining me. Really do appreciate it. Likes and subscribes go a long way. Please come on back into a live stream sometime because they're such a good laugh. And we're back, and as you can see down there, we're actually doing a live stream right here, right now. So if you join us for a live stream sometime, you'll see me making the clip that you're kind of watching now for everybody else, but there's always more around it. It's always good, and you can talk and we can interact and you can learn stuff. Anyway, right now I'm looking at this and saying shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline, we're above it so far. Lovely to see. What else is lovely to see? death cross, sorry, over here on the 4 hour time frame. The 50 simple, that's this red dotted line, is crossing over this white dotted line over here. That means that there was a death cross. Okay, so that's not so great. However, we've since gone up and we first off we tested the 50 simple here, then we rose up past the 200 simple. That's great to see, but of course we could be in for a retest of these things. What I want to see is these coming in for a cross, right? A couple of things then that we'll work through. First off, let's just call this the yeah, let's call that the neckline of the that's a shoulder, that's a head, that's a shoulder. Yeah, that's the neckline, right? I'm going to leave that in. I know it sounded terrible, but I'm not going to be bothered editing that out. Right, so that's the neckline, right? And here is the measured move coming up for us, right? So it would be something like that, and we'd be looking up to prices of $2,000. I think that makes a lot of sense right now for what we're looking at if we do get carry on up the charts. But actually, I tell you what, if you actually watch my last Ethereum video, you'll get to know all of the price action which is happening right now. We actually spoke about this in great detail, and not only that, we predicted the future. Yeah, I know nobody can predict the future, that's obviously BS, but we did talk about it, and we said that where the prices could go. We have a big $1,800 sort of potential resistance point. Looking over here, seeing that we had this inflection all around this zone. When we broke down past it, we came back up and retested just here. This is a big deal, this area. If we actually see a turnaround from this point, what could it potentially be? Well, it could be a retest of the neckline. We could then see as well, if we do continue on up the way in the near future, that we get a golden cross between the 50 and the 200 simple. And when that happens, the 50 simple so often gets tested in the immediate aftermath, and that would be a pullback. So can we actually push on to 2,200, or will we see some inflection? Well, we could. So key targets to be bearing in mind are, of course, the $1,800 area. Looking at the prices right now, that's only $10 away from where we are right now. So if you see this and the prices have already dropped down, don't panic. This was kind of natural, so to speak. If we push past 1,800 by the time you're watching this, then it's going to have to be, are we on the way towards 2,000? And the chances are that we may well be. But again, looking out for that potential turnaround. There's another area in between. I want to point it out. It's 1886. It sounds like a lovely date. Jumping up towards the 2-day time frame, just so you can see like the reasons for this. The 786 Fibonacci retracement point is in there. Now, of course, pushing on past the $1,800 where the golden pocket is very, very much key. Are we going to do that? We could. Is the 786 that likely to turn around the prices? No, it isn't. Worth bearing in mind just where that is, though. If we come back down afterwards, we could be looking at various other targets. Good entry points thereafter actually start popping up again in it around about the 1666 area for us if we need to retest things. Okay, there are plenty of things to be aware of. We actually have a cross here on the DMI. Lovely to see, although it is below, the ADX is below 25, so it's not really fully strength of trend, but that's pretty good. And actually comparing that over here with the 24-hour time frame, we're seeing a cross happening right here, right now. Now, of course, as well, the ADX massively sloping towards the downside, but it's in a decent position overall in terms of, can we just capture that? Can we capture that momentum? Now, if you want to think about that, it's kind of the difference between a hard stop where the direction of travel kind of hits a brick wall versus the momentum of the direction of travel kind of getting pushed slowly around, where your momentum can kind of stay, and you do that Indy 500 racetrack circle thing instead of just hitting straight into the wall. Ideally, with the, I don't know, maybe being a bit too esoteric here, what I'm kind of saying is that we're in a decent position, strength of trend wise, to kind of, take that momentum that was going towards the downside and help us go towards the top side. But we obviously have to make it past those key areas I was talking about. Things that are looking good for us, of course, are the stochastics coming up here nice and erect, pushing past the middle line of the neutral line there, and we can see that the 2-day time frame giving us that longer period sort of look at things, thinking that if we did pull back down to 1600s, maybe we're still in a position where we're kind of turning things around. The weekly time frame not looking quite so great. We have come up here and put in highs. Wow, that's busy, isn't it? We have come up here and put in highs, and it's not bearishly divergent. Everything's overall quite healthy, but of course there is this question of, have we seen enough? And the question really boils down to, was the high that we had previously in it around about $2,000 down to the low that we had previously enough? And I would hesitate, but I would say that 36% retraces are indeed normally enough to see things, kind of continue on the way up. If you've looked at plenty of analysis over the last few years, plenty of people right now will be comparing, you know, the pullbacks we've seen in previous bull markets, and 36% is in it around about that sweet spot that you might be looking for. So are things set up pretty nicely? Well, they are overall. You can see here in the weekly time frame that because we had a high followed by a low, that the chances are if you just drop down the way, that there's sort of inflection going on here, some sort of format. If we pull down the way and then go up, then it could maybe start to look like a sort of bull flag of some sort. Overall, if we go on further down and up and down, then maybe you'd be looking at this and kind of thinking, is this distribution at the top? Which means that what we really need to see is that if we're going to be conducting any sort of consolidation and pullbacks within the next wee while, that we don't want to see the prices dropping down below $1,000. I know that sounds disgusting because it is, of course, a massive drop down in the prices, but we've experienced this 36% one, and like I said, 36% is actually tolerable, believe it or not, during the bull market, but actually moving past $1,000 at the moment really kind of no longer is. Right? Cool. Think so. Probably. A couple little things I can point out towards the end. 1 hour time frame looking pretty good. Overall, have we got some divergences though? Oh, I'd look out for that. So right now, I suppose the last thing that I would mention is that, of course, if we do see a pullback which consign any of these highs at the minute towards being a local high, then of course they're going to come in with bearish divergence. I'd watch out for that. As you can see there, bearish divergence. As you can see then, therefore this is probably going to be like a wedge. Just drawing this in here, just let me verify that. Absolutely, there you go. So there it is. Right, cool, done. Probably enough in this video to convince you to come back to a live stream someday for fuller and better explanations. But if you're just looking for the TA, well, there you have it. Watch the previous video as well. Bearing in mind that the previous video was from last Friday, and of course you'll have everything you need to know for the rest of the week. But if you want to learn and become a really good trader, then I highly recommend you joining the channel as a subscriber. Right, catch you next time. So that was the Ethereum one. What do you think of that? I don't know. I never really know what to think of any of these bits that I make. You know, it's hard to know. I mean, I'm the guy. I'm in the eye of the hurricane over here. You know, looking out, not looking in. I'm not particular. I'm not. While I'm obviously a fairly confident guy, I'm not arrogant really, and I don't think that I always have a massive feeling of, did I do a good job there? I don't know. Did I do a good job? I don't know. Maybe I set the bar a bit too high on myself. I don't really know. Anyway, wonder what that was like. Let me know if you think in there. Let me know if there's anything that you needed to know more of about, like, I don't know, just say @rocky.outcrop so I can see it flashing up with yellow in the chat over there, by the way. So did you know that you can do that? By the way, you can do that. You can say @rocky.outcrop. It'll make it easier for me to see things. Obviously the best way to make me see something is a super chat or whatever, but who cares. Moving on. Bright eyes. Right, so Chainlink, ooh, coming up close to this, aren't we? Bit of a pullback at the minute. What's it looking like? If we had taken it out, wow, that was a previously bearishly divergent one. Yeah, what we want to see is we're doing well here. 65 golden pocket. Oh, let me just adjust this real quick to put 618 visible. Oh, see that? Yeah, so it's a golden pocket so far, right in this zone of Chainlink. Moving up, changing the angle of my head doesn't actually help. That's not a lesson for anybody. Yeah, I can see that better now. No, golden cross here, 1 hour time frame. That's about as much bullshit as you can get. Oh, look at that. So what have we talked about so far? I'm not gonna go banging on too much, but let me just do another real quick episode here on this one. So drop this in. Chainlink has been rising towards the top side. Everything is looking absolutely fantastic. We're on the way up. The next target, oh, by the way, thanks so much, Dan Anthony. The next target on this one is probably like $36 and then even higher. That's great. Or is it? Plenty of stuff to be looked at. I've got just one thing that I want to point out in this episode right now, and it could have a bit of importance over the next 48 hours for us. Thanks so much for joining me. Likes and subscribes go a long way. I'll see you in the charts in just a sec. Okay, enough of that. Cut it short. Right, so what is the one thing that I want to talk about? Well, we're on the 4 hour time frame here, and there's a lot of noise on the chart. Let me just clean up a bit and reveal the mystery. Now, there's still a bit of noise on the chart here. Let me just clean up a bit more and reveal the mystery. Now, I think everybody watching the live stream right now knows what I'm about to say. That's right, that box below me filling up with text. This is filmed during a live stream. I'm going to cut it out from it and publish it separately. You're more than welcome to join me for one day. I hope to see you there. But what they all know I'm about to say is, because we've talked about it already in the show, and I kind of explained a little bit about this, is that what we're seeing is this moving average here, which is the 50 simple period moving average, the red dotted line. And what we see here is the 200 simple period moving average, the white dotted line. They're about to cross soon, okay? But when crosses happen, you so often get retests of those moving averages. Okay, so what about a bit more context for this? If we see this crossing like this, you know, so we get a cross between these two, what could happen? Well, the prices could retrace. Why might they do so? And I was being a bit cheeky earlier on. It's not just one thing, it's everything you need to know. I'm going to go through all of what you need to know, okay? So you tuned in the right place, right? This isn't like those other people out there in the world who just say one thing and then move on. What you're looking at here is that we had, of course, a golden pocket retrace. Okay, so that's the 6.5, 618 in this area. The golden pocket retrace, we've had one. Oh, that looks almost like eyes. Laser eyes. Byow, byow. Sorry, I digress. So we've had this golden pocket retrace. Of course, then if we were to come back down the way, wouldn't be that much of a surprise. You'd obviously be hoping to see that your prices were supported in it around about the 50% moving average then, or Fibonacci retracement point then, if you were to see that retrace. Where does that happen to be about? Well, obviously that happens to be about where these things would, of course, be crossing at. Woo! What else is there though, Rocky? Well, in fact, you know, taking away that, in fact, you know, overall upward slope on both of these things, nice to see. That's obviously bullish in and of itself. And of course, what I was saying before about the next upward side target is, you know, a bit tongue-in-cheek, but mostly a joke. By the way, as well, watch my previous Chainlink episode that I put out. It was on Friday, but it explains everything you need to know moreover as well. And the more you watch them, the more you'll learn along the way. So what you're looking at here is a potential for a twin peak pattern, right? Twin peaks. What's a twin peak pattern? Well, it's any sort of double top, you know, twin peaked pattern. And that, so we're seeing this little bit of a red candle. If we were to see things pulling back down the way, then what would that significance of that be? Well, one of the things it could be would be like a cup with handle. Now, what are the things that I don't like about saying that? Well, let's be honest, right? This, okay? The cup with handles are best whenever they're happening at the top end of in terms of the bullish market continuation pattern. Cup with handle, you want to see it happening on a decent sized time frame where the left rim of the cup is actually above the previous price action over the previous 7 weeks, if you were looking at it on a decent sized time frame like the daily. Now we're on the 4-hour time frame, so there is a case to be made about how the fact is that we're above all of this and we have had this rise up the way, but it's a little bit tentative, a little bit weak. Nevertheless though, what would it add up to, right? Nevertheless, because the psychology is more or less the same regardless of the individual rules, what would it add up to if we were to see a retrace? What would the handle typically look like on one of these things? Now, the way that you would work it out normally is that you would look towards the 50% point. You know, the handles tend to retrace around about 50%. So if I just hide off of all of the other lines on this moving average here, then you are Fibonacci retracement point. Why do I confuse those two, hey? Then you'll see that the 50% line on this one lines up with, of course, where the 50% is on the other, right? Okay, so that's what the only line that was left remaining on there, that 50% one. So that's where your target would be. Ooh, spooky, right? Technical analysis, baby. That's why we do this. Now, there's other things that you could be aware of as well. If we did see that and then broke on down the way thereafter, you might be looking at this and saying that that was a neckline of a head and shoulders here which failed, and then the failure pattern of it could see the prices just continue to descend down afterwards. So I would be, you know, hesitant to say that you should definitely go long at that 50% retrace point, but I'd be, you know, it's worth considering. But that's, you know, if this was to be a head and shoulders, okay? And what do I mean by head and shoulders? Really, I'm talking about that as a shoulder there, that's your head, and that's your second shoulder, okay? And the neckline's that green line. But there's more to the story than just that, unfortunately. By taking this low where the head is and got up to this shoulder and seeing the upward slope here, of course, this forms the right hand side of it into a bit of a wedge here. And then, of course, it'll be no surprise, just to confirm, having seen the wedge on the price pattern, on the price action, is there anything showing up down below? Well, look at that, if it isn't a dose of bearish divergence for us. Now, you could have done it either way round, but it's nice to see that happening for us. Okay, plenty more that we could be talking about, but I think I've covered enough in terms of not overwhelming you. Be sure to join us for a live stream sometime. Honestly, they're good, right? Cool, nice one. Done with that one as well? Think so. Let me know, by the way. Let me know. I will look back up the chat. I will look back up the chat if you think anything is missing. Top shelf TA today, Rocky. Dan Anthony, you're a legend. Thank you so much for that. And it's, yeah, it's good. It's nice. I'm obviously you know, been completely insane in today's episode. I've just embraced it for the fun, you know, singing the technical analysis to the theme of Bohemian Rhapsody during the GRT section, like mad, right? Okay, bit of fun, bit me, just putting myself out there. Right, I'm out here, and you can get shot down doing TA so quickly if you do something wrong, obviously. But I mean, I'm really putting myself out there, and I think that's nice to be authentic and genuine. People share a little bit of my personality, even if it is slightly exaggerated on screen here. And then, yeah, but yeah, I feel like I'm feeling like yeah, everything's going along fairly well. It's nice. We're on form, right? It's doing well. Okay, cool. So, yeah, that'll do for that one. Let's move on and take a look at, thank you very much, by the way, Rook Trade. Good to have you here. Rook Trade, by the way, was in that chat earlier on. We had a nice chat earlier on. Good stuff, he says. That's quality. Trey Paget. Trey Paget. You know that you provide top-notch education, TradeSpawn. I bought more GME at $45 because of you. Boom! Nice one. Look at that, TradeSpawn. Love it. I love seeing people give. I love the community aspect here. TradeSpawn, great channel, by the way, if you're watching this and you haven't checked out TradeSpawn. Let's just do that together for a second. Let's just do it. Hey, let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's TradeSpawn fall in love. Right, okay, so over here, TradeSpawn. Look at that. Look at that, by the way. Look at that thumbnail. Today's thumbnail. Good laugh again. 19 watching, that's right. Should be 19,000, but here we have it. This is obviously the very best community on whoops, wrong thing. Freudian typing slip there. The very best community for crypto technical analysis in the world. There we have it. By the way, it's not actually a full complete slip of the Freudian slipness, as you can see looking at that thumbnail. That thumbnail, of course, TradeSpawn himself is very much aware of that pun. Right, anyway, what we have, by the way, TradeSpawn, if you don't know, and of course the likes of K-Doc and Kai here from Scotland will know all about it, but TradeSpawn, you know, hanging around waiting to see another train, and it's got this nice little connection with the sort of the junkie looking for his fix, okay? No, wait, what am I doing? I don't want to, sorry, I'm not explaining the joke, sorry. Back off, Rocky, back off. Not gonna do that. Anyway, check out his channel. Good stuff, right? 983 subscribers. Should be 50,000. It will be 50,000 soon, I'm sure. By the way, I've watched all these videos through to the end. It's just that I watched them twice, right? What am I doing there? Right, back over. So we're moving on to Tezos, and this is bringing us towards, you know, the final chunk of this show. Okay, so we've done most of the TA that we're going to be doing, and it's now time to take a look at Tezos. Tezos, my friend. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum-bum. Look at that. Look at that. Now, need I say more? Almost at this point, you know. Need I say more? I didn't draw this in after the price action had happened in order to do it, you know. This was what we talked about last week. The market structure here, I was kind of making a joke about it, how this looks almost like to me, when I was looking at it, I liked the way that it kind of, you know, that the structure of the market was shown in a way that you might see if you're looking up towards the lattice that forms the support beams in a roof or a ceiling structure. You know, like that. I was kind of thinking about the market structure. This looked to me to be like these could all be girders and stuff like that. I liked it, and lo and behold, we've done everything that we talked about doing perfectly, which is always nice. Yeah, again, but here we are, and we're up here at and I don't want to be blowing smoke at my own ass, but what can I do? I mean, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to just go, oh, sorry about that, ignore all that, let's take it from scratch all over again? No, let's just like that's the way it is. So where have we come up to precisely? Oh, look at that, 446, where we had our serrated line. Why did then? Okay, then we can just kind of retrospectively do it. Why did the prices turn around from where they turned around from? Well, they turned around from there because that was obviously an area of support and resistance. Why did they come up this direction in the first place at all? Well, because of the patterns that we had on the charts over there. Plenty of reasons for it. What do we have over here is an increase in volume in it around about this area overall, so that's fairly you know, intriguing. Nice to Pardon me. Nice to see. Nice to see. Let me just bring up this oscillator down below. And what am I doing here? Well, I'm looking at this and saying, is this fair to say this is bearish divergence? Well, you know, in this area, is that fair to say that that's bearish divergence? Is it? You decide. You decide, right? I mean, it's fair, okay. But what's the point in saying you decide and then giving you the answer when it was kind of obvious in the first place? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I ad-lib these shows. As you can tell, there isn't a script in sight. Anyhow, is this an issue? Well, it's a bit of an issue, okay? It's a bit of an issue. It's a bit of an issue, right? It's a bit of an issue. Now, just because the accuracy of everything else that's on the charts was so perfect, there's no guaranteeing, right? There's no guaranteeing that this will be perfect too. But what we have here is a couple of highs, and we've got a couple of touches, right? It's not fully formed, so could we go on up the way? Yes, we could. I want to see the prices out, you know, push past this golden pocket area. The golden pocket, right? I want to see them push past this area where the golden pocket is. But the fact is that we came up here. Now, we didn't come up quite to the golden pocket. Instead, we turned around at that serrated line. Wow. I wonder why. I'll have to look at my previous episodes to figure out why I put that line in there, because I can't remember off the top of my head what the justification was I used at the time. I'm not going to lie to you about it. But anyway, it's there, and that's where we went. So what would we see then if we were to break down the way? Well, potentially we'd be coming in here towards this 355 area. Is it this time that I'm going to point out? Wait a minute. Do I want to just do that? No, I'll just keep going. It's at this time that I'm going to point out two things, right? One, this is the 4-hour time frame, and then everything that you're seeing over here looks like, you know, oh wow, it's all definitely happening. It's all secure. It's all secure already. Go up towards the 24-hour time frame, hide all the drawings, and just show you. Look, there isn't really a higher low as yet. If this was to turn around and we were to have a trend of some sort, the trend that you're looking at is like this little inflection here. That was the turnaround area. Then we had this pullback. Now, of course, in terms of percentages, it was of course quite big. You know, in this area, 10%, you know, that's enough, like great or whatever. But still, you know, we've not really done enough. We've not done, you know, tons. So if we were to come back down towards this area then and do a measured move down towards here, then we'd be putting in a higher low overall, right? So maybe this makes sense from a market structure sort of point of view. Nevertheless, of course, we could see this breaking out towards the top side, and we are in a bullish market, and that would give you a bit of hope on that front. I don't like it on the 24-hour time frame as much. It obviously doesn't work as a concept on 24-hour time frame. It works here in the 4-hour time frame. It's not spectacular, just like I say, 2 touches. But if we did break out towards the top side, your target's going to be $5.40. And where does that take you? It takes you up perfectly for a twin peak formation of some sort or another. You know, whether or not you actually get one is kind of besides the point, but you'd come up here, identified that area without even, you know, from just looking at the charts like this, you've identified that area as a profit taking target. The fact that it lines up with the previous highs, you know, kind of just doubles down on that as an area of liquidity. Why would that be? Well, there's plenty of people out there that exist in every single market who got in here and went long at this point here, see the prices drop down, they start thinking to themselves, oh my goodness, if it goes back up to here, I'll just let my position go, etc. Now that would be retail type perspective. What about exchanges? Well, exchanges have to kind of balance the books. Actually, traditional exchanges have to not perform in this way because it's illegal, whereas crypto exchanges absolutely want to balance the books, in which case, you know, they're looking at this area and saying this would be called what Mitch Ray calls that a Mitch Ray phrase is a square up. Okay, if you've ever heard him say that, a square up. Okay, that's not just, he didn't invent that phrase, but I'm going to give him the credit for it. Right, so that would be a square up for us. Now this happens across plenty of industries. It does happen, and I say it'd be illegal, but you know, whatever. We all know that Citadel and Robinhood and all the rest of it do things like this. We know it, don't we? Don't we know that? I think we know that. I think we know that by now. Anyway, we live in a world, you know, occupied primarily by human beings, and they're all just as fallible as you or I. Especially the ones that got power. So anyway, that sounds so conspiratorial. I spent so long talking about that, and I now need to qualify everything I've been saying by saying I didn't mean to go off on a big tangent like that. It's really not a big deal. Anyway, right, cool. So that's where we'd be looking to if we move towards the top side. Is there anything telling us that we would maybe not do that? Well, this doesn't always have to work out. It doesn't always have to work out. It certainly does not always have to work out. How often does it work out? Well, not always. It certainly doesn't. It doesn't have to work out. It doesn't always have to work out. It really, really doesn't. But this area of shadedness ended here at the prices were around about this point. So if we did come down here, what would that be? Well, that would constitute fake out territory from a move. Let me just drag that back down the way. So if we were to come back down here, this would be the measured move you'd be looking for, to come down and try and structurally stay above that previous low. But then again, you know, maybe in this zone you would have your fake out territory satisfying this, which is not a thing. This is not a thing. I made it up, okay? Right? I just talk about it like in dismissive tones like that, so that people kind of, you know, don't put too much emphasis on it. This is something that I invented, okay? And but we could see it happen, right? And it could come down towards, we got two areas. Fake out territory. I don't even need to look at the numbers. In fact, Navanethan, are you here? Are you here, Navanethan? You could tell everybody. Navanethan doesn't trade this, by the way, but this has been spoken about enough. What number do you think the fake out territory is? What number do you think it could be? Okay, 396 would be your fake out territory. What's the target for this one? Well, 350s area, right? Okay, slightly higher than the previous ones. I don't want to be saying $3 or any of that, unless you're looking at a change of circumstances, you know, which can happen, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about trading up to the point of that, in which case, obviously, you've got enough ammo now, hopefully, to be able to fire that demon down if we need to come across it. So that would be that. That's what we'll be looking to. I appreciate, by the way, if I'm talking over the heads of people at the minute, I'm sorry, but this whole episode builds up. Okay, the whole thing builds up. If I'm talking over your heads at this point here, then all you would really need to do is go back and watch the whole thing again, and you'd be like, oh, I get what he's talking about. But I get it if I'm talking past you at this point. You know, potentially not. Whatever. Whatever. And then you'd be looking up towards the top side, whatever. So those are those two things off the back of that idea. Cool. Regardless of that idea, we have the concept that we could come back down as a sort of higher low over here. We'd be fine to see a higher low, just market structure. This has gone up to a high. Could we see a higher low? Sure, we could. It's not divergent on the RSI, so that's nice to see. But we, of course, you know, we're coming back down here towards the edge of the bullish control zone. Naturally, if we continue towards the upside, we're staying within it. If we go outside of it, then maybe, you know, we're looking at this and saying, are we going to come back down and give the moving average a nice wee kiss or something like that? So you'd be looking at that from that perspective. Stochastics wise, you know, little potential for a cross. Oh, have I got all my? I didn't realize I had them all on here. Just a second. Oh, no, I don't. I just got one. Right, and then you've got obviously your bearish divergence there on the go. So that's all the way it is. Now, counterintuitive to this is not counterintuitive, but you know, the reality is that if we did suddenly just push up the way, then all of those things would go away, and you wouldn't care about this white box background thing that I'm talking about over here. Okay, you wouldn't care about it, but if we were to push up, and what does that involve? Well, it involves doing that measured move that I talked about. Now, you're going to want to look for certain key things to give you that signs, looking for volume. Equally, if we do come down the way here without volume, you just come down, you know, without a huge increase in volume, starting volume or stopping volume, as Peter Brandt likes to call it, then what you're looking at is indeed nothing having started or stopped, for that matter. So you haven't started a downtrend, you haven't stopped the uptrend, in which case you're talking about fake out, etc., and simply just putting in a higher low. And then you'll be looking up the way as well. Where does that take us up to? The Twin Peak thing I already spoke about, covered that off as well. So I need to make an episode. I've not done an episode for this one yet. I need to make the standalone clip for this. What point am I going to make on Tezos though? Because I don't even really want to talk about this, because I don't like, you know, check, nice one, check, nice one. The implication, because of these previous two ones, is that somehow this is going to be perfect, and I don't like people, you know. I want to say I love people. I don't like it when people start to think that I'm some sort of god of the charts, okay? Because I'm very much too humble for any of that sort of. Don't attribute any of those sorts of accolades towards myself. No thanks. I'm not, okay? And continue, and kind of I've blown smoke up my arse too much this evening already. So perhaps I need to come at this from a different approach entirely. Right, and it's kind of as well. I've already spoken about everything in the live show, so the Tezonians that tune in to watch the live show get the benefit of it all. So in that case, what would be good would be to hide all the drawings, put the moving averages back on. Put the moving averages back on. Ichimoku Cloud, is that going to be good for it? I could say all the same things with the Ichimoku Cloud. Let's zoom on in a wee bit here. You see what I mean about the crosses that happen within the cloud? How, you know, obviously they extend on up the way afterwards, like I said earlier on, making it harder to, you know, the ideals. The trading signal is like, is funny as well, because this wasn't from a classic Ichimoku cloud, strict Ichimoku cloud, strict trend following, risk averse Ichimoku cloud perspective. This wasn't a buy signal, okay, because it's below the cloud. And strictly speaking, this wasn't either. But obviously, you know, I mean, come on, realities, right? But what we're looking for is a retrace. Where does that take us down to? $4.15. That's not good enough for the chat, for the show. Obviously, we've got our downward side targets and everything else. It'll all be explained by talking about this one, but I don't want to talk about it on that front. Any suggestions out there? No. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's talk about from the stop and reversal points. Cool. Does that line up enough with the fake out? Let me just drop the drawings back on. Okay, so it doesn't line up with the fake out of the wedge for people. Parabolic SAR folks, by the way, on the 12 hours line up with lower end of the wedge. I don't know. I think that's for me personally. This is somewhat discretionary. For me personally, I I don't know. I would maybe be looking. I don't know. Maybe that would be fine. It really doesn't matter. If you're consistently using this, then it's fine. I don't know. I'll withdraw any statements I was making on that with regards to that. But as you can see here in the 12-hour time frame, that it's significantly lower. You know. So what about in between? Yeah, I mean that's much more realistic or whatever. The parabolic SAR on the 6-hour time frame right now is beautiful, right? Compared to the other ones. Then so I could leave the parabolic SAR on. Let's take off the VP. I'll take the VPVR off. I don't know. I'll leave it on. Makes me look cool or something. Let me see just if there's any suggestions coming in here. No, it's all good. I'll make it up. We have the best crowd today. Do wonder where Zoner is though. What? Aye, where's Zoner? Oh my God, Zoner. Oh my goodness. I'm not. Ooh, where's Zoner, man? I hope he's alive. Hope he hasn't been run over or something. God, he's never missed one, I don't think. Hey, Gank. Oh, aye. Hey, Gank. Nice to see you. Thanks, Trey. You put in that message and then boom. Hey, Gank. Thanks so much. Right. Okay. So, whoop. He's on BitBoy, lol. Something about BitBoy. Dan Anthony, BitBoy's got balls calling 2,500 Ethereum by Valentine's Day. He really had to eat that one hard. Look, BitBoy is an absolute charlatan. BitBoy is a charlatan. He is a phony, okay? BitBoy is a phony. He's a phony. BitBoy is a phony. Okay, now, regardless, right? You know, he says stuff, it's interesting. He'll put out things which are good for you to know. It's interesting, it's good to know. And he's got a decent enough personality, and I'm sure he's entertaining. I've seen some skits that he's made which are kind of funny. He does interesting and sideways things. He's got a different approach to doing the YouTube and everything else, right? So there's a massive disclaimer on what I'm saying overall, except anybody who is saying $2,500 Ethereum, actually, come on. I mean, I don't need to go on into detail on this one. But where's Valentine's Day, February the 14th? What did he say, 15th? Did he actually say that? God. So we were looking at Ethereum prices, high, divergent. You know, we saw this low came in. Sure, there was bearishly convergent here, but kind of, you know, that'll add up to some bullish divergence afterwards, and then we've seen prices turn around since. Kind of nice little head and shoulders here overall, by the way, in this 6-hour time frame. Very similar to the head and shoulders we spoke about already. Very similar to, I think we did, to the head and shoulders that we saw in the on the weekly time frame that Peter Brandt was looking at in February, but of course wrong. What are you talking about? What an idiot. I mean, fuck that shite. What an arse. Right, anyway, nice. So, moving on. Back over here. So, this is a completely different chart, which was kind of, no, we'll not use that one. HitBTC doesn't really deserve a look in, does it? Let's be honest. I've still not decided what I'm going to do for the. Where's my chart? Was I not doing Tezos technical analysis? I mean, it was, wasn't I? Where is it? Ah, here it is. Confused the shit out of myself for a second there. Sorry about that. Sorry to any BitBoy fans out there. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. Maybe he said stuff which is useful in the past, but I mean, anybody who says something like that, look, anyone who calls a price for something is a phony. And then anybody who calls a price for something and puts a date on it is a double phony. Why did they do it? Well, have you seen that song, which I put on at the start of the show for an hour? Tony Weiss is bearish. Nova Gratz says it has bottomed out, right? These people, they do it to try and steal your attention and convince you that they've got something worth saying. Occasionally it'll work out. They'll seem like they're geniuses, and then they grow and grow and grow a subscriber base of people who don't have the wherewithal to question what they're listening to, and it's a phony way of doing things. Now, Tony Vase is actually good, and that he's actually good at what he does, and everything else, and you know. However, he did it for marketing purposes, and I bet you if you asked him, he would tell you. If you said, Tony, see, whenever you were saying that Bitcoin's going to $1,500, what was the priority in your mind? More subscribers or Bitcoin going to $1,500? Tell me honestly. He'd say, man, honestly, more subscribers, right? It's impossible to act like that unless you're a complete phony, right? Anyway, enough of that. I don't want to be saying negative stuff. Oh, TR Castillo, it's good to have you here, by the way, buddy. Thank you so much. Right, open mouth thumbnail pick. I had that. What am I going to do here? I've still not decided. I want to give the Tezos people something different, and I've spent way too long at it. So let's just. I don't want to half-ass it either. So we're going to do parabolic SAR. We're going to use the 6-hour time frame. We're going to hide the drawings, and we're going to hide all the crap off the charts here. And we are going to zoom on in a wee bit here, make it full screen, and here we go. Tezos has moved towards the top side, and thank goodness that it did. Isn't that right, XTZ fans out there? What do you call yourselves these days, my friends? Tezonians? I don't know. There's quite a lot of names going around. I always liked Tezonians and Tez heads. Anyway, it's a good thing that it did, because if it hadn't, then what we would have been looking at here would have been the cross between the 50 simple period moving average and the 200 simple period moving average on the 6-hour time frame. Wow, the 6-hour time frame, Rocky. You don't usually look at that. Why are you looking at that today? Well, you're going to find out in just a second after these intro clips. Woo! And we're back in the charts. Look at that. Wait a minute. There's a bit of news. Just seeing that somebody says that Crypto had his channel deleted. I'm going to have to look at that after this. That's shocking. Anyway, thanks for seeing me here, and hit that like and subscribe button. Hopefully we don't get our channel deleted. That would be awful, wouldn't it? Now, I'm not a financial advisor, none of this financial advice. Probably a good point to point that out, actually, now that we're talking about this. But anyway, looking at this, if we had kept going down, there would have been a crossover there. Now, there wasn't. That's cool. That was kind of just to kind of draw your attention to the fact that we're actually quite a bit above these two moving averages at the minute, and that's nice to see. But the thing that I really wanted to point out with regards to the 6-hour time frame is where the parabolic SAR is actually sitting at. That's in there at 375. 375 would be a key area if we saw the prices pushing on past that for me to want to potentially kind of ditch the long that I was holding at that time with a view to thinking about perhaps getting a better entry or whatever, you know, various permutations of that thing in and around about those prices. Now, why am I talking about it? Why am I talking about the 6-hour time frame? Let me put this into context real quick. Jumping down towards the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the parabolic SAR comes in at this price point over here at $4.14. And what does that line up with? Well, it lines up at the lower end of a potential wedge that could be operating on the charts for us in and around that zone. We could easily come in here and simply then turn around from that price point. But as well, looking on beyond it, we have a couple of moving averages. Now, I tend to look more closely at the 4-hour than the 6-hour with regards to looking at these crosses of the 50 and the 200 simple. But if we did come down to that zone, you're seeing that 395 down towards 380 is where both of these are. Taking out that 6-hour parabolic SAR is going to be taking out both of these moving averages here on the 4-hour time frame. Now, on the 24-hour time frame, as you can see, there was a golden cross back a ways ago here. What did we see subsequent to that? A retest of the 50 simple moving average. Lovely to see, and things continuing up the way. Now, what we want is for that wedge to break towards the top side, and if it does, it actually takes us in line for a 540 measured move. I can show you that real quick, maybe. Just grab this real quick. Yeah, boom, 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 double top, twin peak pattern potential. Could see something happen. Would be nice to see a cup with handle. By the way, I'm going to look at a big cup with handle in a second here as well, or look for one anyway. But if we were to move down past that 375 area, then we're looking down to two things thereafter. Well, you know, of course, first off, the tiny little bit of inflection that we had here, this sort of almost not quite fair to say, but maybe that was our previous low area. But really our previous low is in this zone down at the low $3, and it's not worth carrying that 20% loss on down to get down, or the 10 to 20, 15 to 20% loss that you'd be looking at in order to kind of get down there. And that's what I was talking about how I would be managing my positions. But then of course as well, on this time frame, you can see that the parabolic SARs are all the way down here at 291, and you know, going down to these areas would be so long as we stay above the 200 simple here in the 24-hour time frame, we're doing good. I don't want to see this happen though at all. That would be really really awful. Anyway, if we did come up towards this high, then you know, twin peak pattern could happen, double top, whatever. What people love to talk about is of course the what you call it, cup with handle. So if we came up to that point, where would we descend down to? I'd be looking then at a 50% retrace from that area. That kind of brings us back down to where the current prices are at the minute. So before I actually, you know, I'm not going to speculate about a cup with handle that hasn't happened yet with a twin peak here, but I am going to point out just real quick for you that there's this potential if we were to withdraw down the way from the if I could speak first, then secondly, if we were to withdraw down the way in terms of our prices, what would this be? What would this one green line I just drew in represent? That would be, of course, a bump and run pattern. Go and check out Bulkowski's book. Dead easy. Search Google for the pattern site. That's a website that the guy Bulkowski, the father of pattern technical, he's not the father, but he's the guy that wrote the book, literally, the encyclopedia of chart patterns. So search the pattern site on Google, and then BARR, BARR, or bump and run pattern, and you'll see all about it. There could be the potential for one of those just here, okay, if we see a bit of a retrace. Now, something to consider over the next 48 hours. But now what I wanted to look to is something that was pointed out to me in the comments a long time ago, with the potential for a cup with handle, a big cup with handle, a big cup with handle. Now, it's a little bit harder to see. I'm guessing the person that pointed this out to me was being a little bit lenient in terms of the lips that we've got on this cup here. But let me just see as well. Nice basin with the price action. By the way, quick pointer out, or little tip for people, if you're looking at cup with handles and any sort of basin format, sort of any sort of rounding bottom, basin, curvy bottom effort, then of course quite often you do get this sort of erroneous area right in the middle. That so often also goes in line with things like, you know, inverse head and shoulders, etc. Okay, so that's what that volume candles there is all about. But of course, we have that volume signature of one as well. Subsequent to that move, where did we see the prices going down to? The 50% Fibonacci retracement point. The 50% Fibonacci retracement point, just let me kind of draw this arrow in here. This is where it came down to. That's your target for the handle. So while the lips don't line up perfectly, let's be a little bit tolerant on the guy's idea. By the way, thanks so much to whoever it was that pointed that out to me in the comments, and I'm sorry for not having discussed this sooner, but we're doing it now, right? And there's big time frame stuff that you're talking about. Where does that lead us up to? Let's use this area of support and resistance that I'd already kind of talked about in numerous previous instances to draw in our measured move for us and just kind of look up the way. And where does it take us? Well, right between our two main targets that we've got anyway. What we've been talking about for the last wee while is 1.414 in there at $6.79, and of course the 1.618 in there at $7. So anywhere between sort of the high $6 and the low $7 would be your big target in terms of if we see this have that continuation towards the top side. Cool, nice one, congratulations. By the way, if you got any value from this episode and you've not seen one of my shows before, where have you been? I'm the original OG Tezos technical analysis guy on YouTube. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, still, where have you been? Hit that subscribe button, come back and see us again. And by the way, all that chat that's been going on throughout this show, that's right, this is a live show that I'm doing right now. I actually make these clips for you during the live show and then interact with everybody around it. Be sure to join us for a live show one day. They're really good, not to be missed. Cool. Nice one. So that's it. We've done it. I'm going to just check in with the chat. Rook Trade says, what is SAR? Well, it's support and stop and reversal, parabolic SAR, stop and reversal. Where it comes from is a guy called J. Welles Wilder Jur. That's how I say his name, just for a laugh. J. Willis Wilder Jr. So anyway, J. Wells Wilder Jr. was a guy that invented this concept in 1977 in a book called New Concepts in Technical Analysis. Look at this. Just the first link on Google. I don't know. Is this breaking copyright or whatever? I don't know. I don't know. Just there you go. And in this book that's loading up right now, seemingly, I totally didn't expect this to be happening, but here we have it. He actually introduced a new concept in technical analysis. Way there it is. That's the very book. It's the very book called the parabolic SAR. So let me just scroll on down here and show you all about this, buddy. So anyway, great book, recommended reading, absolutely 100%. Now I understand that not everybody wants to read a book by a mathematician. Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. Right, it's a book written by a mathematician. I love this guy. He's great. Okay, he's the guy that invented the RSI and the DMI. I think he's good. I think he's one of the people. If I had to draw up a list of the 10 people who've contributed the most influential things to technical analysis, he'd be in there, right? Add that link in the Discord educational tab. Okay, cool, good one. So for anybody watching along, this is the Discord, and the Discord, of course, is paid. If you're not a member of this, it's a paid group for people from the end of this month. Now, this is a process which is happening bit by bit, and I'm withdrawing chunks from it. But currently it's public, and you can get in there for free. People aren't necessarily going to be grandfathered over though. Okay, but anyway, we've got a paid group here, essentially, right? That's what it is now. And for the education section, absolutely, you're not, when this thing goes paid, completely, only the general bits won't be paid. These things like education, etc., will be paid. And there we go. As you can see, we're obviously just kind of starting things off. Hey, I just made it to level 2. Nice. Right, so obviously we're just starting things off there. So anyway, right, yeah, wait, that's the wrong tab. This one. So where is it? Let me just see if there's any gems in here. The missing part of most technical trading plans. Most technical trading plans have two parts: a technical trading system, a capital management technique. Most technical trading systems are trend following systems. I believe a trend following method is the most profitable method to use in trading and trending markets. However, a trend following method invariably gives back a good part of its profit when the market changes to non-directional sideways movement. That's something that we all know about, right? So one of the things that he came up with to address this issue is this first chunk here, the parabolic time price system, right? Okay, we just call it the parabolic SAR now. And why is that? It's because we look for this stop and reverse. Okay, it's a stop and reverse point. And where the stop and reverse point is going to be is worked out by this mathematical formula over here, which is handy for us that we don't actually have to do the maths now. My God, by the way, honestly, I hate maths. I really hate mathematics. I hate math. I hate maths, plural, singular, or indeed fancy pants, full word. But there you have it. And anyway, he did it back in the day for us. Thanks, mathematician guy. And what the general principle is in addressing that first paragraph there. Okay, so what you have is a position, and as each day goes by, you can see here that initially these dots represent your stop. By the way, I wasn't necessarily very clear about that. I'll just hide this here. These white dots on the parabolic SAR would represent where you would stop out of your trade and perhaps reverse the direction that you're going in. Now, you wouldn't necessarily do that immediately. Don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. Take his word for it. It's in the book somewhere. I'm not going to find it right now. It'd take too long. You wouldn't necessarily do it. You'd have to, on the one hand, be slightly discretionary about it, but also, you're looking for more than just simply that. However, time goes by, now people kind of say, oh yeah, stop and reversal. So you would just immediately change your position. No, what are you talking about? But you could manage it like that. Instead, what it is about securing the profits that you've got. It isn't necessarily about predicting the way the market goes. That's not what it's about. It's not what it's for. So what it is for is for trying to establish the best area over a long period of time, like a mathematician loves to do, by taking a way of working and applying it back in the past at various different things to figure out where would be the best area for you to actually stop out of any trade and take profit on it. And as you can see, so all these points here would be stop points for you in your trade. So over here on the charts, at this point on the 3-day time frame, you would stop out of your trade if you were shorting it, because of the way that the maths that make this formula work. The implication is that you'd be shorting this on a bigger term time frame at this point. There'll be various reasons for that. A quick identification of some of those reasons comes in here when you look at how the prices are below the 236 Fibonacci retracement, for example. Now that's not what he uses, but for example, there's numerous different ways of coming to that conclusion. But your stop point would be here at $5.40. Oh my god, what did we say earlier on the show? Anybody? $5.40 perhaps? Yeah, okay. So, you can see that the maths behind this are obviously fairly robust. I'm on the 3-day time frame. This changes. That's almost coincidental to an extent, but it's lovely, right? So I'm going to take that. I'm not going to blow it up so much to say this is perfect, because it isn't. But as you can see here in the 24-hour time frame, this is actually just flipped positive, and of course your stop and reversal points down there at the 290s. Fair enough. I can't argue with that. If the prices go below 290, I'll be thinking of a short. If the prices went below 290, would I be thinking of a short? Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily enter it there. You see, that's the thing. It's not. I wouldn't necessarily enter it there, because it maybe be looking at this and saying, well, is this representing a really slanted head and shoulders? Is there a neckline? Will we get a retest? Maybe I would. I don't know. I digress far too much. This is the parabolic SAR. It shows you where you can manage your trades. It's kind of like how I explained. You wouldn't necessarily flip direction just as soon as it hit. It's got a mathematical formula behind it. It was invented in 1977 by a guy called J. Wells Weller Jr. It's a good book for reading, very educational, and you can see that it's been, is that you can work it out, okay, using maths and stuff, right? Great, groovy, nice one. Now, as well, you'll see me reading this book and using it to help explain the DMI indicator in my DMI educational video, the very best video explaining the DMI indicator on YouTube, right? There only are 2 people on YouTube who understand the DMI indicator. That's me, myself, and Eric Crown. That's 3 people. Me, myself, and Eric Crown. No, 2 people. Myself and Eric Crown. And TradeSpawn understands it. I mean, there's other people out there, but in terms of the ones that you're likely to have come across outside of this community, is kind of what I was meaning, is me and Eric Crown. We're the only ones who understand the DMI. Pretty confident when I say that. I'm not 100% sure, might be wrong, but most people don't get it. It's one of the most complicated indicators in the world. I made an hour-long video explaining it one time, and I used that book to do it. It's well worth a watch, that video. I will be removing that video before the end of the month from YouTube. It'll be on Patreon thereafter. I might edit it a wee bit, or maybe even remake it, but I'm going to remove my educational content from Patreon, from YouTube. Okay, it doesn't draw any attention to the channel, and it undermines the value of my the actual price tag sort of value of my education, and it's not worth it. But if you want to catch that video now, well, you still can without having to go and join the Patreon, well then you can, but you'd have to be quick. And it's an hour-long video. So who's got time for that, right? Anyway, there we go. Rook trade. Does it matter on which time frame to find this pattern reversal? I think I talked about that. Did I talk about that during this? I think I did. Yes, the SAR. For example, if you see a reversal on the 50-minute chart, but the 4-hour is still bullish, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna have stuff. Oh, combine it with Williams fractals. By the way, Williams fractals, really good way of putting something on your chart to confuse people, but not to confuse people, but to be another phony thing, right? But let me just show you the Williams fractals. There was a guy back in the day, well, a few years ago, who got quite popular on Twitter and the like, selling his course. A very big BitMEX trader. And he used the Williams fractals There. No, why are they? Where's this? Is there not a built-in? There we go. He uses this on the chart. Big phony guy, really. Anyway, what this does is it looks for a series of. Oh God, can't draw. I can if I just move it the way, right? It looks for a series of candles, and it says, well, let's just go down the way. Let's say we're going down. It looks for a candle, and it's got this sort of formation sort of thing here. Then you would say, oh, we've got a fractal. Now, the word fractal, like I say so many millions of times in this show, the taxonomy in trading is god awful. People like Bill Williams himself was like, I'm going to call it fractal, and then somebody else is like, I'm going to call this a fractal, and then somebody else is like, I'm going to call this a fractal. And then if you look at what it is to do to any sort of pattern analysis, it means finding fractals, and then people go crazy and they don't understand what they are at all. So anyway, in this instance, a guy called William Williams came up with a little system to say, if you see 5 candles operating along these lines, then you could pop a wee triangle on them. So what you would do at this point is you would get a triangle. Give me my you would get, no, I want like a triangle. Where's my triangles? I need something that represents a heart. That looks enough like a triangle. So you got a triangle here, right? And then it's on your chart, okay? And now, and as you're following the trend, you would then, when you come up to the next one, so price action, this is a downward trend, right? So then price action goes like this, and then it's like this for a while, and then it goes down the way, right? And then it does this again, and it goes like this, then like this, then like this, then like this, then like this, right? Then you would say, hello, we have another fractal here, right? This is the Bill Williams fractal. So what you're doing is you're following along the trend, and then you move your stop from here down to the next Williams fractal. This would be in a downtrend. So the same thing in an uptrend. So let's just sanitize that or check in with it. How does it look in terms of what I was saying? So we've got a candle, doom, boom, boom. Okay, so then we see this is a fractal. We're in an upward trend here. I'm going to put my stop loss over here. If we break down below this price here, then I'm not as interested in staying in it again anymore. Going up the way. Oh, we got another fractal over here. So in terms of trading this towards the top side during this phase of price action, you would be putting in your stop losses over here. Now, I kind of actually just demonstrated that slightly upside down in a sense, I would be looking at it as in terms of the fractals. Sorry, I demonstrated it the wrong way round in a sense that these things should have been up on top in terms of how he draws them on the chart, right? Or whatever. But you get the point that I'm making, right? So I would have put that you'd be putting your stop in here, okay? And that's the Williams fractal. That's what it's for. That's what it was invented for. That's who invented it. That's why they invented it. It's how you use them. That's the mystery solved of that one, okay? So if you ever see any of these things on a chart somewhere and you're like, what is that? Why are you doing that? And then they try and give you any other explanation than that. Let me just see what TradeSpot said actually. Fractals. Yeah, cool. Yeah, he didn't say anything wrong there as well. So yeah, give you any other explanation than that, then they're talking shite. Okay, nice, great, excellent. And that's the Williams fractal. Anyway, that's just you can do these things. So in terms of this, it's obviously. What we're talking about here is trying to find an area that would be good to stop out at. Now, is there anything that's ever existed purely in isolation, really, in terms of any of these things? No, well, it's all as old as the hills. You can always find some degree of overlap. So if I just stick on, for example, just to show you, I'll stick on the Donchian channels, and you can see then that this particular fractal lines up with that area of the Donchian channel. That's not a big shock overall, because of course this is, well, I mean, it lines up with it, but this is where that's actually determined by whatever. All I'm trying to say is that when you say that you don't want to go past the wick of a certain period of time, then you're just really limiting yourself, right? And when you limit yourself, you create rules, and creating rules is a framework, and a framework can be improved. Now, the chaos of life and charts and money and the prices, and in fact, since everything is price discovery. By the way, another quick tidbit for you. You'll look across in the world and you'll see people saying, "Oh, it's gone into price discovery mode." That's an inaccurate use of that phrase. Economics will tell you that everything that has a price is always in price discovery mode. That's the fundamental understanding of the relationship between supply and demand, after all. But anyway, what we're looking at here is saying that is that within this framework, I have rules I can iteratively improve on it, and then and that's all you really need to do as a trader. Okay, that's kind of enough with that one, right? The markers on Williams Fractal looks like Market Cipher could be using it. It looks like it. It could be, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't spend much time looking into that the other day when I did the video. God, the amount of hate I got off of that video, by the way. A lot of hate. Throughout my YouTube career, I've had approximately 10 negative comments. And in the last week, I've had 4 or 5. And they were all to do with CryptoFace. Says a lot to me about the audience. I think, the people watching along with the videos, a lot of people watching along with the videos, they can see that it's during a live, It's weird that people come along and saying to me that somehow like I'm an idiot for not knowing that mainframe is now called hi-fi, and all it takes is a simple look on their website to figure out. It's like, man, I'm sat here with an audience doing a live stream being asked by somebody to take a look at the chart. I'm looking at the right chart. Who gives a shit what it's called? Who gives a shit, really? And nobody in the stream had a problem with it at the time. So why have you got a problem with it after the fact? Like that type of thing. Madness, right? Whatever. Anyway, CryptoFace stuff got me a lot of negative hate over there. People do not like... Yeah, hungry kids yelling. Absolutely. People do not like having people... They've all got Stockholm Syndrome, says Trade Spottins. Yeah. The people do not like being told stuff. Cognitive dissonance is a hard thing to overcome. Perhaps one of the hardest things to overcome as a human being. Now, within the world of trading, FOMO and greed are the 2 biggest things to overcome. But the 3rd biggest thing is cognitive dissonance. And what does cognitive dissonance do for you as a trader? It's the fuel that really flames the fires of you changing your stops and convincing yourself of one thing. And when your emotions kick in and everything else, then cognitive dissonance is a wonderful thing for convincing you that, of course, like, oh yeah, no, this is what I actually thought, whatever. Now, cognitive dissonance, right? That's what's going on there. Fantastic stuff. Right. Let me see. 11 p.m. No, 11:39. Solid live stream. How long have we been at it? 2 hours 48 minutes. Fantastic Monday. Everything's good. Everyone who requested a coin got told. Everyone that requested a coin got things. Great show today, TR Castillo. Thanks so much. Let's just check in real quick on GME. I think it's $170. Oh, $195. Oh, there you go. There you go. Now, what are we doing at the minute? Sorry, Eric. By the way, Eric Crown. Eric Crown last week talked about GME and said it was going down. His technical analysis, I want everybody to know this who was watching. So, for instance, who let the bulls out? I've only watched one Eric Crown stream this year, okay? I think the guy is the nice guy and I like him, okay? And I think he's really good at his job. I don't have a negative thing to say about him, to be honest with you. I think his language is not to everybody's taste, but that's fine. He said it's looking rubbish, it's going to go down, okay? His technical analysis, everything he presented wasn't wrong. There wasn't anything wrong in his technical analysis, okay? It wasn't wrong. However, it was a slightly different perspective and a really valid one, but kind of ignored a couple of little things about this. And it's nice to have seen this kind of playing out towards the top side. Now, is there any problems at all with that? No, not at all. Have we filled the gap? Boom. Yeah, we filled the gap yesterday. This is what I would... yesterday? Wait. What time frame is this? No, this is Monday. Aye, today. Ta-da! We filled the gap, yeah. Boom. Exact. exactly as I said we would. Da-da-dum. We've filled the gap, everybody. Yeah, so we did it. Boom. Now, yeah, Eric Crown did some really good TA on this the other day, and it you know, and it wasn't inaccurate. There was nothing wrong that he said during his show, and in fact, is exactly kind of how I would feel about this, looking at it under any other circumstances. But yeah, you know, we filled the gap. Fantastic, great. Is it actually properly filled though? Is that fair to say? Yeah, it's filled. Yeah, is it? I'm not actually going to do any TA on this. I just wanted to check how well we did. I only saw it earlier on when it was at 170 or something. Now finished off the day 195. Fan Dabby Dozy. Was it at the very start of this? It was when I was doing that live chat with yourself, Rook, and Sean. We filled it all but from like $2. Let's call it filled. The hive today was $210. Wow. If we can get continuation and follow through here, then very, very good. Obviously, we're looking at a trend change overall from this shit, which was down. Nice one. We need to obviously take out this key area. The target $211 was the 1272. We were obviously you know, $0.50 shy of the target. Now, I've just looked at this and shown you a target, and we were within 50 cents of it. Let me be very clear here. People who then say that at this point, when they've done something like this, and they go and they say, look at that, exactly on the penny, that's how good we are at technical analysis. Charlatans, phonies. Okay, no, well, actually, no, there's one guy that does it called Dan. He's just kind of marketing. Look, that's not how technical analysis works. Okay. It's not about exact prices. It's not, right? The fact that I've just done it now here, and I'm telling you that it's not real, and I've done it, and it happened in advance. The fact that that happened, I think, and I've just said that it's not real, should reassure you that it's not real. Okay, I'm telling you, I'm the man behind the curtain. I'm telling you, it's not real. Okay, I'm telling you that's not real. I've said it like 7 times now, just so you know. Anyway, this was within 50 cents of the in terms of a prediction of where the prices could go, or whatever, just in general, of the now I don't know whether or not I actually said this price point specifically out loud on the show. I think it's more or less irrelevant. When I'd drawn in my grey box and my Fibonacci retracement point was here and all that, I think it's pretty much, you know, spoke for itself. Now, if anybody says, wow, we get right to the thingy, that's just having a laugh. Okay. Charts are not inherently predictive. You can't predict the future. All you can do is manage your risk. What would have been fair to say is that the risk of the prices going up past this point increased exponentially to the point that I definitely wouldn't have wanted to hold on to a trade past $216 until we'd found out where we were going at that point, because the risk would have been too great to have said that. I would have, when I say wouldn't have wanted to, I would have wanted to, but I would have forced myself to have taken profit because I wouldn't be exposing myself to that exponential increase in risk. That's a fair thing to say. It happens in a zone. It doesn't happen on a fine price line. Okay, cool. So anyway, let me just catch up with you. In fact, look, we're done here. I'm just going to catch up with the chat now for a wee bit. Going to catch up with the chat for a wee bit and then tune out. I could do some TA on this if I wanted to. Sorry, TR Castillo, I can't really be bothered. Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay? I don't know. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. And besides, by the way, it wasn't me that invented gap fills or anything like that. And the fact that we went up there and then went away from that area, that's totally, you know, fine. And why? Well, because the risk of us going on past the gap fill is exceptionally higher. Why? Because there's eyeballs on it and various other reasons and blah, 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 blah. And I don't need to explain it all. I'm just telling you that if I had said to you, it's going to this price point exactly, and then tuned back in next week, a week later, and said, look, it went there exactly as we said it would, that would be bullshit. Now, it sounds a bit like the type of chat that I have when I'm talking about Tezos, but I'm not telling you, but that's not it. You know, we go above and down, below these prices all the time. It happens all the time, you know. It's not about that. It's not about the exact price target. It isn't. Right? Even though I say the exact price target, it isn't about. I've said it 50 times now, so I think I've got that lesson out there. Right. What Mike's got a solid approach. Let's see. I'm trying to build up BTC, have some alts, trend setting, next YouTube college course for me. Cool, nice one. I plan based on what works for me. I'm 9. Wait a minute. What is YouTube college course? Is that like as in to learn to trade, or is that as in you're going to actually go to college to learn how to do YouTube, or what? I actually don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm totally interested. I'm intrigued. Nice Trey. One day I hope to do the same. What's Trey say? I plan based on what works for me. I'm 9 for my last 11. One of them is still in play. Wow, brilliant. Wow, right? Hats off. If I had a hat on, in fact. Just let me do this bit again. So, let me see. Trey says, I plan based on what works for me. I'm 9 for my last 11. One of them is still in play. Oh, wow, mate. Pfft, nice. Yeah, great. Anyway, yeah, okay, not everybody knows that song. It's a bit esoteric. Dedicated follower of fashion. You'll get there, Mike. If I can sustain a similar success rate, I'll be fine. You will be too. Look at that. Look at that. Nice one. Mike, you've landed on your feet. You've come to the best community on YouTube for technical analysis. That's it. Time for the reverse roll call. I'm bringing up the end screen. Want everybody to know that if they want to, pay it forward, they can. They can help people, future generations of outcropticians benefit from technical analysis by, of course, joining the Patreon. That's really great. Also, the Discord's going Patreon members only come the end of the month, so there's that to consider. I know it's going to cause a lot of pain out there for a lot of people, but whatever. And as well, I'm not going to be super unkind to the people who have been following along the channel for quite a while and all the rest of it, but there is the general expectation that we're moving towards a system whereby there's a sort of paid level and one that's not. And that's fine. It'll help with people, it helps, or whatever. We live in a world where that sort of thing actually makes a difference. So there'll be 2 levels in the Patreon. It won't be the Discord. It won't be completely closed off. There'll just be 2 levels in there, and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, patreon.com/rocky.outcrop if you want to do that. And then what else is there that I needed to say? There was something else I had in my head there. Oh yeah, what an exciting day. One of the reasons why I'm late today is because of the new cryptocurrency. So there's only like 12 people still watching along here. If you're still watching along and you want to know more about the cryptocurrency that is coming soon, the cryptocurrency the cryptocurrency itself won't be launched when this countdown timer finishes, but if you want to know more about it, then get in touch. The name of the cryptocurrency that is being developed by members of the Rocky Outcrop community is Picnic. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce Picnic Network. If you want to find out more about it, I have a white paper which you're able to read. It's not public right now. If you want early access to that, then of course, send me an email, get in the Discord, let me know there, whatever. My email address, by the way, outcroprocky@gmail.com. is handy if you've got a Gmail address because I'm put it on a Google Doc, so I'll let you go along there, and you can put comments on it if you like as well. You can add the commenting ability, and I've also got a PDF version if people don't have access to sort of Gmail stuff, Google stuff. And then as well, so that's happening. Picnic Network is a new idea. It's good. I like it. Now, just a quick qualifier, it's actually, you need to explain it. You read the white paper, and that does a better job explaining it. So I won't be so don't say to me in the chat, "Oh, cool, what is it?" Because I'm not going to explain. It's in the white paper, right? So that's my quick qualifier on that one. And I'm looking for feedback. We are looking for feedback, I should say, on this at the moment because, of course, early stages and all the rest of it. and I have a Google form that I would like, if anybody wants access to the white paper beforehand, I really appreciate it if you take the 2 minutes, like less than 2 minutes it takes to fill out the Google form afterwards as well. I'll send you, if you want access to see it, I'll send you a link to the Google Doc. I'll add you to the list of people who've got access to see it, and I'll also send you a link to a Google form, which would be great if you could leave your feedback in afterwards. The ideal person to take a look at this is obviously somebody who is ready, if you like, to believe in a new project and get involved in it, in financially. So that's kind of who that's for mostly. It means an awful lot when somebody says, I think it should really be like this and whatever else, and we need to make this light tweak here. Now, actually, nobody suggested really any tweaks so far to the document. Really, there's been like one tiny little thing that one person says, but it was nothing. So nobody's really said anything so far. But if somebody came along and says, I think the X, Y, and Z, and as well, the general plan is that they're going to be putting in numerous thousands of pounds into the seed funding stage, well, that means an awful lot more than somebody coming along who actually has no intention. So really, when I'm looking for feedback, I'm looking for A, people who are ready to believe in a new crypto project that we're putting together, and B, are genuine investors. Okay, and I know not everybody out there watching right now is necessarily fitting into both of those categories, and that's fine. Just wanted to qualify that slightly. But anybody, yeah, if you want, I'll give you details in email. Wait a minute. Are you going to do that, Trey? You're going to do it. Also, Rocky, would you oppose sharing the NDAs with two guys? One has been watching along a few days. The other has not, but I think he's the guy who can really help with this. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Trey. Fantastic. Totally. Was reading the white paper, but going to read further after this. Absolutely. Sean, fantastic. Now, okay. Right. When you're reading the white paper, it's not like how do I phrase this exactly? What I'm talking about isn't in and of itself a massive headline idea which is just glitter and shiny and that. There's real innovation in this document, okay? And all it takes is to read through it, and then you'll see the innovation that's there. But it isn't like I'm saying, I've invented this new thing, and what it is that you put in bananas, and out the other side comes chocolate bars. It's an amazing cryptocurrency. No, it's not like a completely radically transformative thing. No, the innovation is in the structure of it. The innovations in the approach to market, the delivery of it, and of course in the overall ecosystem that's there, right? So what that means is that hopefully by reviewing the document, you'll be able to see how people down the line will come to understand it and say, yes, that's the way things should have been all along. Now, for me to sit here and say that as like, well, how to describe that to somebody, I'm obviously having to choose my words fairly carefully because I don't want to tell everybody what it is, so it makes it hard to have this conversation. But for what you'll be discovering when you look at it is that you'll think, yes, okay, I get this here, I can see what it is. Now, I sent it to one person already, which was a little bit of a mistake in the sense that they came back to me and they says, so I had a quick look at the white paper, so would you mind telling me what exactly it is? That's not, you don't spend a long time putting together a highly technical document which is like 20 pages long for somebody to come along and back to you and say, would you mind telling me what it is? It's like, no. But now, having said that, I am still working on the elevator speech. I want to be able to know how to describe this thing perfectly to people within 20 words or less, and really hit that home run. And of course, in the feedback, you're welcome to kind of, put in your ideas about how you would do that. Anyway, I've talked about it too much already. I don't want to kind of like overbake the cookies here on this one. Just suffice it to say that, yeah, cool. It's in there. It's exactly, Sean. I don't want anybody coming along and saying to me, thanks so much for sharing with me this white paper. Would you mind just telling me what's in it though, because I can't be bothered reading it, right? Okay, none of that. How busy I was today, and then getting a couple of those messages was a sort of was like, I don't have time. I don't have time for that. As you can see though, it's now what, 5 to midnight. You know, I didn't intend to be here this late doing this thing, but here we are. And I didn't obviously intend to start the stream as late as I did today. We'll be back more regular schedule. It was just that putting these things together was a little bit difficult. You know, like, you know, when it actually came to, you know, with each person had to add in their name individually, then write an email and send it out. I'd sent out like 10 emails by the time I realized I could do blind copy carbon copies and cut down on that a wee bit, you know. But that sort of thing, like I was very busy putting this sort of thing together, and it took into my time today. Okay, cool. Gank, you're absolutely more than welcome to see it. Oh my god, chocolate bananas take my money. Yeah, big time. Woo. So yeah, I'll share it with you. It's all good. And if you want to get in on that with the sharings of the thingamajiggies, then it's dead simple. Okay, I'm going to type my email. Just the easiest way, I suppose, to do it is to all one word, rocky.outcrop@gmail.com. Okay, I would have put it in normally, but you never know. Bots read these things. I don't need any more spam than I already get. Okay, got to run. God bless you guys, says Dan Anthony. I'll be giving you a shout in the reverse roll call, which is coming up soon, but I know you'll be away off by then. Okie dokie. Good luck with it, says Mike. Yeah, thanks so much. That's great. Mike Coin is coming. Quality. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks so much for that moral support. You know, I really appreciate everybody's moral support along the way as well. I mean, there's so many ways of getting involved in this. Moral support is a big part of it when you're undertaking this sort of endeavor. I spoke about this at great length over a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. Anyway, so everybody kind of sufficient numbers of people know more or less where I stand on it. Suffice it, I always get confused with that. To say, we want it to be a great success, and for it to be a great success, then there's so many hoops that you need to jump through. And then the reality is that whenever you're looking at a new cryptocurrency project where it's got its particular, you know, initial exchange / coin / DeFi offering. So the way that we'll be doing it will be an initial DeFi offering, but when you or decentralized offering, whatever, when you're actually at that stage, it's a great deal further down the line than the initial phase, right? Which is why when you're reading the document and it says or you're looking at the website and you're finding out about this coin, which is just having an initial X offering, that it's got that section on there that says investors, right? Okay, so we're at the stage where we haven't got that filled in yet. That investor section is blank, right? You know, so if you've ever invested in a cryptocurrency project before, you'll know that they have investors. This project, it doesn't. That's because we're talking about the ground floor, the absolute ground floor, which is where, you know, you get in early. So obviously the whole success of that next level, if we ever want to have people coming along and looking at it and saying, let's see who's invested in this project, are there any decent names, etc., or whatever, you know, whatever. In fact, I actually not even 100% convinced I'd make that public, you know, necessarily. I probably wouldn't make the investor list public, just for the sake of privacy for everybody, unless somebody wanted to be on it publicly. I certainly know some people who would like to invest in this, who I'm only going to offer it to after the initial investment round, who are already some of the most famous, wealthy people in the country, technically. So, you know, I'll only be talking to them after the seed round, and they'll probably want to have their name up there in the lights. Okay, now not everybody will, and all the rest of it, but what we're talking about now is before that stage. Okay, so that's crucial. And what I'm saying there is that this is the incubation area. You know, ground floor, huge risk for everybody. The biggest risk of all is clearly most likely for myself, and then. And the thing about it is I'm structuring it as much as I can so that despite the fact that huge risk for myself, I'm actually, the reward side of it, I'm wanting it to be so that the reward is actually probably greater for other people. So it's kind of funny, this one. I want it to be a really great success. I'm not looking for this to turn me into a billionaire. What I'm saying is I really want the people who actually get involved in it to get their success back out as well. Hopefully then that whole risk to reward thing really helps, you know, with everybody else. So anyway, whatever. All good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Right, excellent. Great first show. Thanks so much, by the way, Mike. Goodbye for now. Cheers for tuning in. And that's it. That's it. Cool. Excellent. Sweet. Thank you so much to everybody who hit like. Let me bring up the end screen and do the reverse roll call. I really had a great screen with everybody today. Really do appreciate every single last one of you for tuning in. Sorry for kind of banging on a wee bit about the cryptocurrency at the end there. I'm you know, during the show, but this is a thing that'll probably won't feature so much, won't be discussed so much on the show necessarily from here on out, you know. I'm just telling you what we're up to. Why can I not scroll or anything here? Oh, my charts are kind of broken. What's this all about? That works. That works. That doesn't. Weird. This work? Alright, doesn't matter. So anyway, yeah, we'll probably it won't dominate the ends of the shows from now on, okay? Probably not, right? It's just that's cool. That's all good. The musical TA earlier on was fun. Amazing TA as always, Rocky. I look forward to reviewing the white paper. Thanks so much. I did send it to you earlier on, by the way, Drew, as well. Is that I did send it to you earlier on as well. Cool. Thank you so much. Now, yes. That's cool. No need to keep going on about stuff, right? Let me get up the final scene and do the reverse roll call. Here we have it. Rook Trade in there with the other patrons on the screen. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in today. It has been absolutely wonderful. A really enjoyable stream. I don't think I'll enjoy the streams as much as this one for the rest of the week, because this one was just so enjoyable to do. I hope everybody else enjoyed it as well, and I feel sick as well, so that's funny. So, you know, just goes to show you never know. Sometimes whenever you wake up in the morning you think, oh god, how am I going to make it through the day? It turns out you have your best day. Always try to be positive, right? Great. Okay, so here we have it, the end screen. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. I've said that about 50 times, but how about I personalize it? TradeSpotting, you're the man, the myth, the legend. TradeSpotting, here every stream. A wonderful gentleman, great YouTube channel. Check him out. Trey Paget, you're fantastic. You're a really great guy, and yes, I massively appreciate you tuning into this. Yeah, that's right. WellQ is part of the Patreon. It's great. I really do appreciate you tuning into this show all the time. I really do as well. It's a fantastic part of the community. Sean Thomas, really great guy. He's such a nice guy. I'm sorry, Sean. I don't mean to ever embarrass you, by the way. But Sean Thomas, really nice guy as well. Again, you know, Drew's Tech, really nice guy. If anybody's ever in southern Mississippi, be sure to check out Andrew's shop there. He's a really nice guy. It's gonna start sounding disingenuous, you know, but it's not, because it's so consistent. He's all are. Gank L, we should get to know each other a bit more, buddy. I have not got a single doubt, bone, you know, I don't think for a second that you're not a super really nice guy. I already know that you're a really nice guy, but I don't know if we speak enough. You know, are you in the Discord? We should speak more. I think you are, right? We should speak more. We should all speak more, right? Mike knows you've made it to the right place. You've found your people, my friend. You found your people. Okay, Dan Anthony, really nice guy over there. That Dan Anthony, you know, really nice guy as well. Everybody's a really nice guy, but like, that's true. Scrolling back up here and just looking back through the last 200 messages. By the way, Mike Knows as well, really nice guy. Is this guy Mike Knows turned up first stream today? Mike Knows, really nice guy. You know, really nice guy. Rook Trader, really nice guy, right? Really nice try. You'll see him. Rook Trade. He's at the top of that Patron's leaderboard there. Top of that over there, just to the right. You know, just in this bit where my mouse is bouncing around on the right of that. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. He's in the Discord. In fact, you know what? There was a song that came out in the 90s. I don't know if you know it, Rook. Phil, I should say. Actually, I don't know if you know the song, Phil. But But you might, because you're a South African, right? Well, who is it? What was it? Who was it by? Was it the team that did Spit and Image, a UK satire TV show, put out a song called "I've never met a nice South African," right? And it goes, "I've never met a nice South African," and I actually can't even remember the words of the song. It's a really funny song though, but it's totally not true because I know 2 South Africans now, yourself and Peter Hewer. And they're such nice people. In fact, I've also met several other South Africans over the years, and I've always thought they were really nice people. So don't know what that song's all about. I guess times were different back in the 80s, right? Anyway, nice to have you here. Really nice guy, like I say. Gankel, yeah, really nice guy. Trace one, oh yes, wife swapping, changing. Yeah, let's see. Let me just scroll down to the bottom to see. Yeah, cool. Okay, let me just see here. Rocky, you trade that 30-second. No, Sean, no, I don't trade that 30-second. No. Although, look at this. I mean, look at that. You kind of could, but I don't. I just, it's just it's just because it moves, and it looks good in that sense. It's animated, if you like, at the end of the screen here. Like, who else was chatting? What I do, by the way, if you're wondering at the minute, is I scroll back through the last 200 messages in chat and give everybody a shout out. Greg Z Young, stay safe. Greg Z, are you Scottish? With a name like Greg Z, it makes me think you are. Like Greg Z Young, that's totally like the type of name. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I went to school with a Greg Young, to be honest with you. It wasn't that I went to school with people who had the surname Young and the first name Greg, but they weren't the same person. Probs should put not financial advice in your streams, bro, from now on. Yeah, I should. Right, I should. Oh, I don't know if I said it necessarily in every single one of the streams that I did already today. Right, just for a second here. None of that content was financial advice. Always do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube, okay? What you need to do is do your own research. Now, built in with what I'm saying is that there's educational material here, and it's all really good to... No, this is not snappy enough. Let me do that again. None of that was financial advice, by the way, people. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research. None of that was tax, insurance, trading, money, financial, none of it. No advice, not advice. There is educational content here, okay? And I really try to help you. I empower you, the individual. Now, I will not show you my trades because I think it's unethical. Also, I think it probably breaks several rules on the old YouTube and American law as well, probably. As well, moreover, I don't think that sort of thing is useful. Instead, what I try to do is really help you make your own mind up about things, and to help you do that research, and to help you do that, to be your own financial advisor. I'm just a spirit guide, and I really thank you for tuning in for that episode. Okay, so thanks, and I'll see you again next time. What that do, by the way, I'm going to cut that out and hopefully stick at the end of all the bits that I made. So it's not at the start. Next time I'll put it at the start, but at least it's in there, right? And it's done, and I'm nice and big. Oh, wait a minute. Hi. Oh no, I'm not going to make it again. But I was going to make little jokes about my friend Kirky there. He's a good pal of mine. Anyway. Dan Anthony, really nice guy. Gregsy, you're probably a really nice guy as well, Gregsy. I don't know if we've met before though, if you tuned in or not before. I don't believe I've given you a shout out before. I really should have in the past. By the way, thanks for tuning in. If you drop a like and subscribe, you probably have already. It's good to have you here, by the way, buddy. That's all I'm really saying. TR Castillo, nice guy up there as well. Although I don't know you enough. You should join you tuned in because you first came here because of GME. Join the Discord as well if you like. There will be free sections, so if you're not actually interested in learning and improving and whatever else, you can or talking about trades in crypto land, but you just want to be part of the community, then there'll always be a place for you in there. I mean, totally don't miss out on that. So that's good stuff. And then who else hasn't had a shout out so far? Dude Man, good to see you, Dude Man. Hey, Rocky and crew. Did Earth earlier on. Sorry about that. Obviously I didn't notice it at the time when you put that message in, but yeah. Somebody will have told you. Let's see who else is here. Oh, aye, Signmark Official. Really nice guy. How many times have I said really nice guy in today's episode? 3,000 Trin. There's another really nice guy. He is as well. There isn't a single asshole in this community. It's freaking awesome. Artie Pyle, Trip Trey, Artie Pyle, my good pal. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. Josh Kennedy, I hope that you enjoyed today's show as well. I don't know if we've spoken too much either in the past. We should definitely get to know each other some more, because I'm sure, without a doubt, that you're a really nice guy. I kind of regret saying that I need to know Gank L more, you know, like he's not, but I know I'm usually cooking while you're streaming, so not too much. You see, that's the thing. I know, and you put it on and you listen in the background. I know, man, and you are a really nice guy. Join the Discord. If you've not joined it or whatever, that's all good. If you don't want to, cool, that's fine. I mean, I get it, right? You don't have to. Oh, one last thing actually here. Let's go back. I totally forgot. I had this for the show, right? It's a book with everything in it, and I was going to get. Who's still here? Is there anybody still here? If there's anybody still here watching along, give me a number anywhere between, say, 100 and 300, and I'll read you out some interesting information, and that'll do for the end of the show. I think I've made it through the entire. Everybody who commented in the last 200 commenters. Let me just double check as well that I have. Let me just double checking. Yeah, I did. I gave everybody a shout out. The whole show's done now at this point. Let me know. Yeah, anybody here? If you're here, give me a page somewhere between. Well, actually, you know, it could really, you know, if you want to, you could say anywhere between sort of 20, because there's a few pages that start that are junk, and say 370 or something like that. Give me 187 and 256 and 100. That's it. That's cool. That's cool. No more suggestions, because, you know, I'm trying to say bye-bye over here. But it's cool because Kirk. See Kirk over there. He loves these things, does Kirky, man. Kirk loves he can't get enough. Right, so I'll gank, man. Well, I'll give you one as well. That's it. No more 108. Right, great. So first off, Rook came in. Phil, by the way, everybody. Rook's name's Phil. If you're interested, I'm sure you are. But actually, kind of apologies if you wanted to keep yourself anonymous. Actually, should have thought about that first. God, I did that to Tony as well. Tony, you know how we all know who Tony is, and we all talk about Tony? My God, he actually wanted to be anonymous. Can you believe it? How thoroughly I destroyed his anonymous, and I'd actually feel bad about that. By the way, I actually feel bad about that. 175 slogans seen outside churches. Carpenter from Nazareth seeks joiners. 7 prayerless days make 1 spirituality week. Spiritually weak. Makes 1 spiritually week. Come in for a faith lift. Come to church in September and avoid the Christmas rush. Danger, live church. Is life a blur? Come to the Oasis. Okay, and another sign outside. Glory, glory, Man United for the UK. Cool, that's a bit of a laugh. SB says, SB, I didn't give you a shout out actually. Did you just change your name? Are you Signmark Official under a new name, or is this SB? And I'm sorry if you are, you aren't. Right, 256. Next, 256. This isn't a religious book, by the way. That was just a section in there that was funny. 256. This is on large families, right? Fathers of triplets. No, sorry. People with a twin brother or sister. People with a twin brother or sister. Alanis Morissette. Didn't know she had one. Joseph Fiennes. Right, cool. Vin Diesel's got a twin brother or a sister? What? Where are these people? Will Young has one. Mac Gross, I don't necessarily know all these people. Alec Bedser, Gail Blakeney had one. Roger Black, Reggie Cray. Aye, well, everybody knows about the Crays, right? Reggie Cray, Ronnie Cray, the Cray twins, that's them. I mean, not everybody knows, but they made that movie about them. Carol Thatcher. Oh, that's the Thatcher. I didn't know she was a twin. That's Margaret Thatcher's daughter, by the way. So they're twins. Wow. She was a strong woman, that Margaret, eh? Henry Cooper. Sir Henry Cooper has a twin. Oh man, that must be a bit weird when your twins been knighted. Anthony Schaefer, Tony Schaefer, Isabella Rossellini, Keith Chegwin. Cheggers had a twin. Keith Chegwin had a twin. I wonder if Keith Chegwin's twin's still alive, or if he is also drunk himself to death. John Bulting, who's that? Tom Gullickson, Elizabeth Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland has a twin. What? Rachel Sutherland. So Donald Sutherland, massively famous actor, then has his son Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah. Is Rachel Sutherland an actress? I feel a bit sorry for her if she didn't get the whole, nepotism thing. I mean, I like Kiefer Sutherland though. Jerry Hall, Laurie Turner, and Benjamin Zappanaya. I don't know who they are. What? Elvis Presley had a twin brother that died at birth. Liberace did as well. Edgar Allan Poe did as well. Leonardo da Vinci? What? Leonardo da Vinci had a twin brother who died at birth. What? We could have had two Leonardo da Vincis. Imagine the stuff we wouldn't have if Leonardo da Vinci had just been away off having fun with his bro, right? Instead of but instead he dedicated his life to loads of really smart stuff. But imagine, would we have had two geniuses, right? Would we have had Mona Lisa A and Mona Lisa B, or would we have just had the Leonardo da Vinci twins, or the Da Vinci twins running riot like Twin Town, putting mushrooms in people's hot dogs? What would we have had at the end of that one? Anyway, cool, excellent. Who is next? Sean Thomas, 187. Right, cool. This is a laugh. We can do this again next time. 187. Right, this one's about famous people, comic book superheroes and their concealed right, this is like everybody knows this one sort of thing, right? But there's information. You can't see. There's information at the top of the page too, which is carried on from the previous one, which was famous people born on the day. The previous one was famous people born on the very same day as other famous people died. Oh wow, like the Buddhist. So there's just a few of them here. There's like the on the left on there, but the famous, like the sort of the like the Buddhist style thing, like maybe they became them. Well, not so much when you think of the case of Dennis Wise and Walt Disney. Don't get too far apart than that, do you? David Mamet and Ernst Lubstich, Kelly Brook and Merle Oberon, JK, that's Jamiroquai, and Try-Give-Lie, I don't know who these people are. Robert F. Kennedy and Queen Alexandra. Woo! Robert F. Kennedy and Queen Alexandra. Comic book superheroes and their concealed identity. Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Superman, Clark Kent. Batman, Bruce Wayne. Robin was called... Okay, cool. There we go. Robin, from Batman and Robin, what was he actually called? Holy shit, Batman. My real name was Dick Grayson. There you go. Didn't know that. The Green Hornet. Oh, this is some good pub quiz questions, actually. Anybody want to try and guess? Anybody want to guess here? Bit of a delay, I suppose, probably. Anybody want to guess what the real names were of the Green Hornet, Supergirl, Batgirl, the Incredible Hulk? You should get that one. Captain Marvel. You might not get that. And Wonder Woman. Can you get their real names? Let's see if you can get them. Put your comments in the comment box, right? We'll come back in a second to check on your answers on that one, okay? So what we're looking for is, do you know, I've read it so far, Spider-Man was Peter Parker, Superman was Clark Kent, Batman was Bruce Wayne, Robin was Dick Grayson. Do you know the name of the Green Hornet, Supergirl, Batgirl, the Incredible Hulk, Captain Marvel, or Wonder Woman? We'll come back and check on that in a second, right? And what was the other one? Gank, yeah, 108. 108. 108. Da-da-dum. Da-ga-dum, da-ga-dum. 108. The titles of all Monty Python's Flying Circus TV programs. Season 1, first shown on October 5th, 1969 to 11th of January 1970. Wither Canada was their first episode. WHITHER Canada, question mark. 2, Sex and Violence. 3. How to recognize different types of tree from quite a long way away. It's kind of like me trying to choose my episode titles as well. I never know what to put on my title. Well, it's not actually. It's nothing like that because they were legends. And I'm just me. But yeah, I never know. Like the other day I put on a title, it got no views until I changed it. It was like, I called the Ethereum video, The Curious Case of Ether McEtherson, right? And it sat there for an hour and nobody clicked it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to change this. The Curious Case of Ether McEtherson. And it says on the thumbnail, Ethereum TA or whatever. But yeah, nobody clicked it. Owl Stretch in Time, man's crisis of identity in the latter half of the 20th century. Anyway, plenty more of those examples, but because so much of that page is dedicated to the big old foot there, it's not as long. Right, let's go back. Did anybody get any answers? No, nobody got any answers. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have got these either. Although I would have got the Incredible Hulk. He was Bruce Banner. Everybody knows Bruce Banner. I mean, if Navin Ethan was here, he'd at least know Bruce Banner from the name of that weed that got named after him, perhaps, because the guy is a major stoner. The Green Hornet was called Britt Reed. We would never have got that one. Supergirl was called Linda Lee Danvers. I'd have never got that. Batgirl, Babs Gordon. We'd have never have got that. Captain Marvel, Billy Batson. Wouldn't have got that. And Wonder Woman, Diana Prince. I wouldn't have got that. I wouldn't have got any of them. I'm not massively a comic book guy though, you know. But I wouldn't have got any of them. That's it. You'll appreciate this. My great grandfather, says Trey Paget. Am I pronouncing your surname wrong, by the way? I just say Trey Paget. I don't really know. Sometimes I say Trey Paget because it, you know, ooh la la. But you know, Trey Paget. You'll appreciate this. Kirky, listen up, Kirk. We've got one coming up for you. You'll appreciate this. By the way, if you're cooking, Gank, the reason I'm saying that is because I've got this screen up that has Captain Kirk and stuff on it. My grandfather was born in Scotland. Random thought of the day. Surname Norris. Nice one. Excellent. So you are great grandfather. So you're like 1/16th, are you? No, 1/32nd at least Scottish. Anyway, you're Scottish, right? Yes, you're Scottish. Yes, a Scottish. You're Scottish heritage, man. This is it. Brilliant. Because genetically they were still having Scottish kids and stuff, but Scotland was so far away by that stage that it was pretty difficult to get them born there. So I'm going to say you're a talking about a Scottish American. Nice one. You're Scottish already. Should have known. Yes. Brilliant. I'll just flick up the old end screen again and say actually cheerio to everybody. Yeah, this has been the most enjoyable stream I've done for quite a while. I actually think it's going to be like a hard one to beat for me next time around. You know, but that's how it is. That's how these things go. And it was a lovely experience to do it today with y'all. Cool? I think we're done here. Thanks everybody. I'll see you next time.